Hi, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. This is Season 3, Episode 21, I think? 21?
79 overall, which is a
Yes.
gigantic number.
That's a lot of episodes. This is the last 21st episode of Infinite Horizon. Anyway, yes, welcome. I feel like I was going to say more to like introduce things than that, but nope, that's it. Oh, no, there is something, which will lead me directly into announcements because this is our very last stream before our summer break. So, yeah, this is it. This is it until like August. So, um, yeah. So going into announcements, this is some announcements and reminders. So, um, the reminder, first of all, is that we will not have Ramblemancy this week. Um, so, yes, this will be our last broadcast before break. Our break will be from the end of this episode until I believe when we come back with Infinite Horizon on August 3rd, Wednesday, August 3rd. So that will be our return. Also, Remy is here.
Hey, Remy is
Follow Remy on Twitter. Wait,
Yeah,
give me a sec. I'm so sorry, Remy. I haven't got your link ready yet.
Oh wait, no, that one's busted.
CT, it's so nice to see you here, CT.
It's the chaos of this.
Whoa.
It's Remy. Oh my gosh. I forgot we had a command. John's got us. John's got us with a command in the chat. But yeah. Hi, Remy.
The same when you use the command. I have to do it by hand.
I understand.
Hi, Remy.
I think you're muted.
No! Oh my god, I've been muting the whole time. I'm sorry, I muted it because there's people outside. Remy's here. Hi.
I'm here.
We're causing problems. Remy's in my home.
I'm
Excellent.
usually not here
Excellent.
on Wednesdays.
I know. You're usually here on Tuesdays, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
very excited. I wanted Remy to come say hi.
Well,
Thanks,
I love
Remy.
the two tabletop games happening simultaneously.
I know. They're like 8 feet
again,
away from me.
the chaos of this. Like,
Yes. I love it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
Happy
Anything
Pride.
you'd like to say to the people?
Oh yeah, happy Pride. Our flag means death. Watch it.
Gay pirates.
Gay pirates.
Love it.
incredible.
Yeah, gay stay winning.
Yes, I love
Should
it.
watch that for Pride.
Bye, Remy.
Thanks for coming and bothering us. That was good.
Miss you, Remy.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That was my announcement.
Excellent. No, a perfect announcement. Let's see. I think that's it. I think those are our announcements, honestly. Oh, wait. I have a personal one, which I don't know how I forgot it because it was literally the thing we were talking about right before we went live.
True. No, it's okay. I did too. I was like,
Yeah.
whoops.
So,
Yeah.
as many of you have probably heard me sort of talk about a thing that might be happening at some point, and I am now ready to announce to you that it might be happening, but I will now tell you specifically what it is. And that is that there is about, I would say, like an 80% chance that I will be at Gamehole Con in October this year, doing things. I won't talk about that yet because I don't know anything about that for sure. But the part of it that I am 80% sure of is that I will probably be at Gamehole Con. So like, and I know that John will be there as well. So and maybe some of the other roll crew as well. We'll see. But yeah, so if y'all are looking at cons to go to, and like either can't make Gen Con or you just want additional cons to go to, just saying, like, there could be a roll meetup. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, and yes, of course, John will for sure be at Gen Con, so you can catch them there. But yeah, that's my personal announcement. Anybody else have some announcements to grace us with this evening?
Happy Pride. That's
Oh my
the
God.
only announcement
How did
I
I-
have on my mind is that be gay.
Genuinely, here's the thing. Olivia just illustrated why it's important to write things down, because that was legitimately like the first thing I was going to say when we went live, and it just didn't happen.
It's okay. All of June, my brain just goes pride, pride,
There
pride,
you go.
pride,
Yes.
pride, pride. As happens when you sign the gay agenda.
Other announcements?
I
No?
can go.
Yeah,
mine
go for
first.
it. Go for it.
Well, for one, I'm gonna be at Gen Con. So if anyone's gonna be at Gen Con, you can meet me there. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be cool.
A once in a lifetime opportunity.
Honestly, with the way my bank account is right now, it probably will be.
Everybody go to Drax's Twitter page and find their coffee and send them $300. Please and thank you.
Honestly, $300 will change my trip a lot. So if you have the money, I am accepting it.
You should. I'm serious. If you have a couple dollars, you should give it to Drac because Drac is coming to see us.
Going to Gen Con just to buy Drac a beer.
What else? Having a season finale of Parliament of Hours on Friday on Key Times, and we're having a special guest.
I saw.
Sam Delev,
I
which
saw
I'm very
that.
excited about, but also very scared about because my character is very antagonistic, and I know that Sam's characters are all broken. So that could be the death of my character.
Way to
That's
go
gonna
out
be
with
a
a
lot of
bang.
fun. Gonna go over a bang. Season finale, great way to go out.
Go out with a Sam. Why not? It's the best way.
I love that. Yes. Also, if you're checking out Utopia at this very moment, you must be like, why is there 2 Dracs? Well, it's because I actually pre-recorded a whole season of a campaign called Kill Screen, and it's premiering at this very moment on Utopia right now. It's very much a cyber horror, like cyberpunk plus eldritch horror mixed together kind of vibe. If you want to check
All the
that out,
promos are really cool.
Mhm.
All of your
It's a lot.
posters.
They are very cool.
Oh.
it's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun. But you can check that out. That's been we had 6-hour recording sessions. That's what I'm gonna say. So that was fun. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. That's pretty much it. for
Don't
me
let
at the moment.
Drac fool you. Drac has just become Taeon in real life and is in 2 places at
Yeah.
once.
That's just Jack too.
Yeah.
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 Drac two Nicks.
2 Drac, 2 Furious. All right. Anyway,
Jack Tunix is actually pretty good. I actually kind of like Jack
Tunix.
Tunix.
that's very
Yeah.
cool.
Nice.
My announcement was just that Remy's here. I'm not really
Excellent.
very excited that he said he would come in.
Also, Power Play.
And Power Play is on Sundays, and we're also in our last season, and it makes me want to cry a little bit. I'm thinking about both my shows ending at the same time. Yeah, so check us out. Q Times Sundays, 5 p.m. Pacific. Shit is happening, and I'm terrified every day of my life. So, otherwise, you can check out my coffee, Brooder Caitlin. I'll send you confetti in an envelope, because I'm a menace. Yeah, those are my announcements.
Awesome. All right. Well, then I think if that's everything, we will jump into tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon, which I keep wanting to say it's a mid-season finale, but we kind of already had one of those. So like, this is like, I don't know what this is. This is just our last episode before break. So we'll jump into it now. And welcome back. When we left off, previously, a battle raged against a team of sinister supers in the remains of a crumbling base sliding down a mountainside, pursued by an avalanche. In the midst of the fight, an unknown ship dropped into the atmosphere and offered the crew a ride out. The crew managed to drive their opponents back and boarded the ship to find none other than older Mason at the controls. The alternate universe version of Mason flew them to the orbital station above the planet, where he had detected life signs on his way in to rescue the crew. There, they found their families tired but otherwise unharmed. During the trip, the crew received the chilling news, however, that the Resistance fleet had been crushed by corporate forces at Sulon while they had been off rescuing their families, likely dooming the galaxy to a grim fate. And that is where we left off. Coming right back in. Um, y'all literally just, when we left off, had found your families, most of whom were asleep at the time. The only ones awake were Peach and Vix's mom, who had been kidnapped a couple months before, and one of Mason's children, the young boy, couldn't be much older than three, maybe four, um, that was currently being kind of held by Peach's mom, kind of cradling him, comforting him, as everyone else slept. Um, so, in this moment, you all find yourselves here on this small orbital station above the planet that once contained the Resistance base. Um, what are y'all doing? Actually, I would say at this point, like the others have sort of been roused, and yeah. What are y'all doing?
I'm running to my son.
Mm-hmm. He he looks up at you with just sort of like large, sort of his eyes wide, and just sort of tilts his head, and looks at you. Um,
I get on my knees.
I think this is maybe. I don't. It
Hey,
may not be the.
Cade.
Yeah, it may not be the first time that you've seen him, but it sure is the first time that he will probably remember seeing you. Um, he looks at you, and you can see as excuse me. Sorry, I'm opening up a book here. Um, you can see as he kind of like sort of as you come closer, he sort of like hugs his mom's legs, and she kind of looks at you, looks at and looks at him, and just says, "Do you know who that is, Cade?" Um, and he just sort of shakes his head. And she says, "That's your dad." Um, and he kind of like just sort of stares at you, Mason, and she just sort of looks up at you, as yeah, like you see for the first time in years in person, um, you see your wife Maya. Um, she just sort of looks at you and says, "He's shy."
I don't even know where to begin.
Figured about the time that, I don't know. Honestly, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, given everything.
I should have acted. I should have come sooner and hidden you away, sent you away, something. I don't even know. At the time, I wasn't even sure if you'd even want to see me. I was.
Honestly, at the time, I don't think I did. She just shakes her head and says, "You're here now. And it is good to see you."
I like is is Liara there too?
Yeah, she is sort of still like kind of holding holding Maya's other hand, and she's just kind of looking up at you, and she just looks down and says, "Liara, do you remember your dad?" And the little girl, uh, maybe like probably like 6 by now, just sort of nods, um, and she just sort of like looks up at you. Doesn't say anything, just sort of like looking up at you.
What do all of them look like?
Um, I think Cade looks a lot like his mom. Shares sort of like much more kind of like round features. That sort of like dirty blonde hair, kind of curly. Um, but Liara looks definitely takes after Mason. Has like much darker hair and sort of sharper features. Um, and sort of those kind of like uh the sort of gray blue eyes, you know. Uh, and she just sort of like lets go of her mom's hand slowly and like walks up to you, Mason, and just goes, "Dad."
I lift her up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just sort of like buries her face into your neck as you're holding her.
It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna make sure you're safe this time.
Maya looks around you, and just says, "So, are we? What's going on? Are we getting out of here?" And then she clocks the other Mason, who's been sort of lingering by the door this whole time, just sort of like arms crossed, leaning against. Yeah, and she like looks at him, and there's like it doesn't register at first on her face, and then she just sort of looks back to you. And says,
Oh yeah, yeah. That was Mason kind of finally like breaks a little bit from his like, well, not breaks, but just kind of laughs a little bit, kind of wipes a tear. This is kind of funny. That was my reaction to what you're just, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I'm very tired, and we've been living on rationed food for a while now. I don't really have. I can't process this.
No worries. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
I can fill you in whenever.
Meanwhile, who wants to go next?
I mean, I'll go.
Okay.
I think Talon is definitely been very purposely keeping a distance, kind of like walking around the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at his parents and then back at Ada.
Yeah.
Wide-eyed.
Ada has not like Ada's very not subtly doing this kind of thing like the.
It's like should I pretend like I'm just some.
I don't know. I think we're really in uncharted territory here.
Yeah. I'm really bad at lying to my parents. I feel like they'll know, but they won't know what they know.
You see, your mom has like noticed you at this point, Taeyeon, and she's kind of like you can see like the recognition on her face, and she sort of waves, and says, walks up to you and says, you were on the Bellerophon.
Yeah. So I was. Are you okay?
yes, we're unharmed. I'm not really sure what we're doing here.
Yeah. I look at Ada and
Ada,
then back.
Ada just sort of like is doing this kind of like this kind of thing, like
Yeah.
yeah, much more focused seemingly on like what's gonna happen than on like actually helping.
Um. Okay. Well, about that. Um. This is gonna be weird. Um. And if you don't want to believe me, that's entirely fine. Um. I I'm a relative of yours. Um. And I think he kind of got caught up in the things I'm caught up in, and I suppose they just went for anyone who was remotely related to me.
I'm gonna need a roll.
Damn it!
This is
okay.
gonna be an intellect task. The difficulty of which, I think the difficulty of this is gonna be 4. Yeah,
Okay.
the difficulty is gonna be 4.
I am gonna put a self-imposed limit on. I don't think he's gonna be able to use edge on this. Like,
Okay.
Or effort on this, because I think one, I genuinely think that he's just bad at lying to his parents. It's just a thing that he's not good at doing.
Okay.
But 2, it's also just a very awkward situation.
Mhm.
So 4. I'm just gonna roll on a 4.
Okay. You just need a 12 or better right now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I rolled an 11. So.
Nobody dies.
Incredible. She looks at you, and kind of looks at your father, who is also standing kind of just sort of at her shoulder, and then just says, "Okay, well, what, are we going to have to stick around here much longer?"
No, we're going to just head onto the ship, and we're gonna drop you all off. Hopefully at the home plans, but I think you'll be in a rush, so we might have to drop you at a conduit or something for you to get a.
Your father says
right.
a station would work. We can
Yeah,
find our way
yeah.
from there.
Yeah, we can make that happen. I'm Taeyon, by the way. I've met Qatar here, but I haven't met you.
Yeah.
I reach out a hand to.
Yeah, he introduces himself. I actually just realized that I don't think I have your parents' names written down.
His mom's name is Qatar,
Mhm.
and his father's name is Ryuk.
Okay, yeah. So he says, Ryuk says, you the Bellerophon. Yes, I think, this is who you were talking about. And she nods. Says, yes, this is the one I wanted to introduce you to, but had to leave before. And he nods. Says, it's good to make your acquaintance. Thank you for assisting the people on Bellerophon.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Part of the job, I suppose, that comes with what we do.
He kind of like looks around and says, curious to know what that is, but not, He kind of just gestures around and says, not overly curious, and then just kind of chuckles.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that you got caught up in all of it. But do you have a communicator on you of some sort?
It was disabled. We have
Oh,
He kind of like shows you where seeming like power cells were removed from like their like suits communicators and.
could I I'm just gonna plug my suit into it just to let them, I guess, borrow some power.
Yeah,
from it for a bit.
and Ada even says, "Oh, hold on, 1 second," and just like reaches into a
Oh.
pouch and says, "I always carry some extras, some extra power
Oh,
cells."
thank goodness I don't know where I would be without you.
You
Ada.
can see as she says, "Hi, Ada Spriggs. It's really good to meet you. And
they're my partner.
the two of them smile, and you know, uh, your mom just goes, I'm sorry, but if these require very specific Kimathi power units, and she says, oh no, I know, I have these right here. I've got the A model here, and I've got the D cells here just in case. I don't. That's a little. Taeon would know this. Ada has forgotten in this moment that the D cells haven't technically been invented yet. So
Yeah, I just like gently cut my hand over the D cells and goes, no, they're not gonna need that for a while.
takes it.
I just like pocket it.
Oh, right. Sorry. No. That was a joke. I was joking. I'm gonna go, and she just like turns around, just doesn't finish the sentence, just leaves.
Okay, I guess so. Going. Yeah, I just wanted to give you my frequency, just so if anything, I suppose, weird happens, you can contact me. Or if you just, I suppose, honestly, if you just want to talk, I'm always okay with that.
Mm-hmm. You can see as Ryuk gives you sort of like a searching, like a grateful but like confused look, and where Kittel just sort of like stares at you for a second, and then just sort of walks up to you and just sort of pulls you into a hug, and she says,
Oh.
"Thank you again." And thank you for this, and like gestures to like where you can see your frequency displayed on her newly functioning terminal.
I think as Taeon gently pulls away, they're gonna like very quickly put their helmet on, with the tinted visor, and just go, it's okay. Like I said, it's my part. It comes with a job, and again, I owe you too.
She kind of tilts her head at that and says, "Well, thank you anyway."
If you want to eat anything, I think Mason, not that one, the other Mason, probably has rations of some kind.
The old man
Yeah.
Mason just sort of like looks at you and just says, "Are you serious?"
He just smiles like he can't see it because he's got a tinted visor, but he definitely mouthed and helped me.
I mean, yeah, I guess I probably got something, and let's go look. And he just sort of like, just sort of gives you just like a withering glare, Taeon, and then just like leads the two of them out of the sort of central cortex, back towards the dock.
I just look for Aiden, just like, Ada, why did you leave me? I needed help. I just like walks off to find Ada.
Incredible. All right. Bina. You see as
Parrots.
Baba and Somi Oba walk up to you, like they practically run up to you and like
Yeah.
like
Oh, there's
my
no, there's
yeah just
no...
my daughter is here,
Yeah.
and they're just like hugging and just sort of like there's just like a mess of limbs basically just as
There's, I think, 6 total between the two
Yeah.
arms.
cute.
yeah. Oh gosh.
These
Yeah.
like Somioba is standard Orzai height, so she's a lot smaller than
Mhm.
Bina. She's like 4'1", 4'2" ish,
Mhm.
and she has 2 arms and wings. And then Baba Oba is about Bina's height, so you can see where she got her height from. And
Yeah.
they are 4-armed with I think the bottom left one is augmented, so they have a like a mechanical bottom left arm and also wings. And it is all 3 of them are just big hug pretzel.
Yeah. Somi just like after a while, Somi like pushes you away and just like holds you at arm's length and says, "We didn't hear from you. We were so worried. I didn't know what to do. I just
I know,
we were
but
just."
things got really scary, and I didn't want to involve you, and then you got involved anyway. So.
And Baba Oba just sort of looks around and they say, "So what exactly is happening? I mean, we didn't really have it explained to us. We were just brought here and then told to just sort of sit and."
Yeah, that would have been too nice to ask that they tell you anything. Extortion? threat of violence upon family members to stop us from doing what we were trying to do, so I'm very sorry about that.
You feel an extreme wave of concern from both of them, as in like the very much the like what has our daughter gotten involved in, and like they look at each other and Somi goes, no, we didn't, but we saw the
Okay, we're not terrorists. We are not. That was greatly falsified and exaggerated. They were framing us for stuff because and she kind of like looks around and is like, and then she just slaps both of them on the shoulder and leaves handprints. There's stuff that happened, and it's weird now.
They sort of look at you.
And that's why they don't like us? You're not very good at explaining things.
They just sort of look at each other, and you can feel like just sort of like that like trademark Orzai like emotions back and forth, kind of like yeah.
I got kidnapped. she's and now I can do that. The handprints that are still there, and I'm glad you're okay.
You can.
I think she starts crying.
Yeah, no, Somi definitely starts crying as well. Like it's literally like it's like you're not sure if it's hers or yours that's like happening. It's just like a bit of both.
This is my mom.
Yeah.
Like this is her daughter who's giggling things, and it's like.
Yeah, Baba is sort of standing there, and you can feel that relief, concern, whatever, like cocktail, like from them. But like they're keeping it together a little bit more, but they're just sort of like looking around and just.
I might feel different to them actually, like.
Maybe, but if
I mean they went insane, but I'm like Vita probably has like they're like okay, interesting.
Yeah, and then Somi through tears just goes, Bina Oba, have you been eating enough? And just sort of
I don't know anymore. We'll have food. We can make something fun. And these are my friends. And then she'll point out, and that's Taya. I don't know where Tan's going. And then Ada, and then that's Peach, and that's Mason, and that's also Mason, and that's she's long story. I miss you a lot, and I'm sorry for not sending messages, but it was weird, and I will explain everything after maybe some emotional catharsis and some food. We might have to wait till we can get to a station because I don't really know how much Mason, the other one, has on the ship. But we don't have to stay here anymore. She's like, there's like active tears. Like,
once again they like just sort of mess of limbs as like both of you come like touch foreheads and antennae like together and just sort of like and then it's just like the rest everything just proceeds into sort of like nonverbal from then
ping, ping, ping,
yeah
ping, 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 you know.
Peach, you and Vix basically are like have been kind of like standing to the side with your mom, kind of watching this whole thing sort of take place. Probably not a whole lot of conversation has been happening since you came in, opened the door, and like kind of got everybody up, and she's just sort of like sitting there. Ever the politician, even in posture, even in captivity, just sort of sitting, sort of very very sort of stoically observing, and Vix just sort of you can almost feel Vix next to you getting like antsy, like more antsy by like the millisecond, and you can feel it coming. You can feel one of Vix's like tension breakers coming.
And I feel like me and my mother are literally both just kind of standing there, like I'm standing kind of like sizing her up, trying to like figure out how to even like address how to start this reunion, and then just I turn to Vix.
Yeah, and he goes, so guess we finally took that family vacation we were talking about.
Took us too long, huh? I just shoot him like a look.
Yeah, he goes. And she's not looking at the two of you while this is happening. She's kind of like looking kind of away, to like watching Mason and his family.
I'm sorry. Are you busy right now?
She turns back to you and just says, "My apologies. I just wanted to make sure that the boy was all right. Night terrors. And she says,
And
Hmm?
are you all right?
I'm fine. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Vix just
Can you confirm?
Vix just sort of, oh, mm, sorry, Mom. I've got a bit of an emotion detector now. And she just sort of stares at him for a second, like not comprehending, and then just says, "It's just a bit overwhelming. That's all."
How long have all of you been here?
Here, a little more than a week, maybe. Maybe a little more than that.
Vix and I looked for you after you went missing. We thought you might have been taken out in one of the strikes. This whole time have you been in custody? Kind of look around, like not really quite knowing what to call this situation.
Yeah. She says, "No. Shortly before the bombardment, you came to visit me, and you told me that you had something to show me, and suddenly I was on a ship that I didn't recognize, and our home was being bombed from orbit below. And she explained some things to me. Honestly,
This is really important. What did she tell you?
she...
It wasn't me, clearly.
No, obviously. I know my own daughter. She says, no, she stopped pretending to be you almost immediately after we got on board the ship. I mean, she told me everything. Who she is, why she is, where she's from. She took me there to see it. To see what she had built.
She took you there.
Yes. She took me, showed me what she had built, told me how she had built it. She said I had it right the whole time. I was just on the wrong side.
Must have been hard to hear.
It was.
What do you think? Was she right? Was she wrong?
I think that what she's done with her universe, whatever it is repugnant. And the way that she did it.
How did she do it?
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I can't think about that right now.
How does she look? Does she look rattled?
Yes. She she was putting up for a little while, was putting sort of this like a good show of her usual sort of calm detachment, but it's breaking.
Yeah.
And she,
Well,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, she just shakes her head and says, I couldn't give her what she wanted, and when I couldn't give her what she wanted, she said that I would serve another purpose. As her prisoner, as her leverage.
I'm sorry to ask, but it could be important. What did she want you to do?
I think she wanted me to approve of what she'd built.
Get the approval here that she didn't have back in her own universe, maybe.
Possibly. She like kind of this whole time you notice that she's sort of been avoiding eye contact with Vix. Like she's like she's talking to you, but like has very pointedly been not looking at Vix. You also know, because you can feel the change in demeanor of your brother, that he has also noticed.
Yeah.
As he has become uncharacteristically silent in the way that he used to whenever you were being lectured by the two of you were being lectured by your mother.
You know, Vix was the one who looked for you for weeks. I was busy, but he was scouring the planet.
For the first time, she kind of looks over at him, and he just sort of smiles weakly and says, I mean, it was sort of a team effort. And she stands up, actually, and sort of like smooths out her tunic and kind of stands in front of him and just says, I didn't know what happened to you. I didn't know what you had... I thought you were just like you used to, and I didn't know. And Vegas goes, no, Mom, it's fine. It's okay. I mean, it's... nobody knew, right? I mean, it's...
I mean, it wasn't okay.
She shakes her head. She says, no, it wasn't. If I had known, I would never have worked with them. And he says, no, Mom, really, it's I get it. Like, how could you have known? I mean, they specifically didn't. And she just like hugs him. And it's in that moment, Peach, that you realize that you don't remember the last time that you saw her do that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I'm like, I think Peach is just kind of standing there, like shocked, and kind of have a hand on like Vix's, like probably back. You know.
Yeah. He just sort of like, oh, Mom, hey, it's fine. He like kind of awkwardly hugs her back and says, yeah. I mean, you didn't know. And she sort of like pulls back, and you can see that like her composure has sort of like broken. And you can see that like there like are tears in her eyes, not freely falling, but they're there. It's just
I like reach into my pocket, and I make a very like fancy embroidered like gold handkerchief, and just kind of like hand it to her.
Yeah, she takes it and just sort of dabs at her eyes and just says, I'm so sorry And I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you. And she looks at you, Peach. Says,
Wow. I never thought I'd hear that one.
I have made my share of mistakes, but I think my biggest one has been not sharing them with you.
Okay, well, there's still time.
Yes, there is. She kind of looks around and says, I need to find whatever is left of the Commonwealth. She announces to the room, to nobody in particular.
Yeah. And I'm happy to help, but we have some big priorities, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I could really use your help on some of these.
I know. That's why I want to find them. This everything that's happening out there in the galaxy, and now she's sort of taken up like politician voices back, and she's like she's speaking to the room now. She says, everything that's happening out there in the galaxy, everything that the corporations have done and everything that they will do, it will not be stopped by a band of resistance fighters alone. This requires much more direct action than we've taken in the past. And after everything that I've seen the corporations do, the time has come. The priorities of the galaxy have to change, or none of us will ever see the future.
She's right.
Now, do you have access to long-range communications?
Yeah, we should have access to some.
You can see she's like straightens her shoulders and says, "Then take me there. I have some people that I need to contact."
Of course. I'll show you the way. And before I can kind of turn, Peach just gives her like a very quick hug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which she returns. It's sort of stiff but warm.
I'm glad you're not dead.
She sort of like raises her chin and she sort of looks at you, like puts her hands under your chin and sort of lifts your head up a little higher and just says, "The same goes for you, both of you." She says, "Now, we have work to do." And she, without another word, turns and very sort of like almost regally sweeps out of the room. Vix just sort of looks at you and goes, "Same old mom."
Except now he can read her emotions.
even weeks without showering, how does she still look like that?
It's genuinely one of the most irritating
uncanny.
things. It irritates me more than than when you do it.
Yeah, and I have superpowers.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, you're right. It's way more irritating when she does it.
It's kind of funny how we keep finding our family members in odd planets, odd places.
Well, it was always gonna take extreme circumstances to pull us back together.
I think this is the most extreme no one could ever imagine.
We should
you
probably,
heard her.
Yeah.
And Vix and I walk out together behind her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of pass a look at everybody else who's still in here, like all of you guys, and just be like, "We're gonna go over to communications. Bye."
At
Bina
this
and Somi Oba and Baba Oba are like having like the weirdest disconnected conversation from the outside where it's like, and if the, I know, right? And like it's like speaking over each other, but it's like half like internal
Yeah.
pings of acknowledgement. Like they're all talking over each other at the same time, and it looks so weird. And at the same time, they're like, "Okay, we'll be there soon." And then she goes back into the conversation. With
Yeah.
them.
Meanwhile, the entire time, Jade has been like underneath one of the consoles that has been like he like basically like ripped it out essentially, and has just been tinkering. And at this moment, you hear the as like full power is restored to the orbital station, and Jade sort of like pulls himself out from under it and says, "Okay, that should give us something."
Oh, nice job.
And he kind of taps the screen on the thing. He says, "There we go." He says, "Oh, sorry. Sorry to be. I just figured you'd want a moment. Hi, I'm Jade."
That's good. And Beta points for
Yeah. And they like immediately sort of like descend on him and just start like
Of course.
yeah,
they
like
do.
all talking at once. And Jade is very clearly overwhelmed. He's like, "Yeah, no, what?" And then like he's like,
Venus just nodding, like, yes, infliction my parents onto
he's
everyone
like,
I know.
"Oh, yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. One second though." And he like, sorry, and he just says to be nice, like, just saw here, come look at this." And he like
Okay,
pulls you,
and she'll
yeah,
come over.
he pulls you over to the to like the Cortex's console. And he like points, and you can see where he points the long range sensors from the orbital station, which are now sort of intact again, are picking up on an incoming FTL signal. And he says,
Can't catch a break, can we?
"Yeah, but also," and he like points, and he sort of like zooms the sector map out, and you can see another FTL signal exiting the like, and you can tell that the originating point was from the surface, from the planet's surface. He says, "I think our angrier friends might have left. They left just a few minutes ago."
Okay. Can
Yeah.
we get any read, like, from here? I don't know how good this orbital station is, like, a sensor is. Like, if we can get any other information about the inbound FTL signature?
Actually, I think this is a good use for Bina's skills. So go ahead and
Let's
give
do
me
it.
a roll. Be an intellect task, and the difficulty on this one's gonna be 5.
Are we all here? This is the power.
I sort of think you probably would have taken your mom to the ship.
Communications.
Yeah, to the ship.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Because at least at the time,
Because we wouldn't communicate from here, like,
right?
Because that'd be
at least
stupid.
at least well, and also at least at the time, like all systems were down when she left the room. So like the ship's communicate like Old Man Mason's ship would have been the only like long range communication available at the moment. So yeah. But yeah, so Bina, what you got?
5?
Huh?
Is it
Yeah, 5.
Piloting's not gonna be it. Mechanic, that doesn't seem like that's the right
no.
thing. Task involving sight, that's not it either.
No.
Do I have an asset from Jade or the computer?
Definitely from the computer and sensors. So yeah, you have an asset from that.
Okay. And then I get an automatic one,
Mhm.
and then I get 2. My edge eats 2, and I'll roll on.
Okay, sounds good. You just need a 3 or better.
It's a 13.
Okay. As you sort of look through and you're able to kind of push the sensors a little bit and find some sort of ancillary readings that are kind of coming off of this FTL signal. And as you do, there's nothing particularly out of the ordinary about it or distinctive, except for one thing. And you can tell that there is like a very distinctive signature, an energy signature within the FTL signal that could only come from Awakener's quiet drive.
Okay. Maybe not so bad. And she pulls up the readings and goes, huh? Like it points to Jade.
Yeah, Jade sort of frowns at it and looks at it, and it takes him a second, and he goes,
yeah,
wait,
Uh-huh.
wait, and
I know. Yeah, and they have that little good news for once, probably.
Whew, we could use it.
We really could. I'm gonna send a communication to like audio comms, whatever. We have our comms work, right?
Yeah.
To Peach, because I knew they were headed towards communications. Before you do anything political or big news, we have possible friends incoming. Do you want to try to reach out to Awakener?
Yeah, I'll give him a call.
Okay, thank you. And then she'll throw.
I'll let you know.
Okay, so Peach in the cockpit of Old Man Mason's ship, he's like sitting he's sort of hovering actually at this point. He's just like, look, I have this the way I want it. Don't touch.
Mother, we're gonna have to make a quick call first. Could be important.
And she goes, of course. And Old Man Mason looks at you and goes, all right, just give me 1 second. He says, this thing, it just requires some persuasion every once in a while. And he like flicks the comms unit and then boom, boom, slams it. And then you hear like the signal just as the comm unit.
I think Bina could maybe fix that for you.
Says,
but
nobody touches my ship.
Okay.
I have it the way I like it. And
thank you
with
for
that,
letting me call.
With that, Peach, the comms unit is active now.
Okay. Yeah, I want to try to call call the incoming ship.
Okay. It takes just a second, and then you see just a very like distorted image, like fuzzy and just like it's pretty even Peach, who is not particularly mechanically inclined, like you know that this is like very clearly an issue with the receiver unit in Old Man Mason's ship. But yeah, you get a very fuzzy picture, but you can still make out Alma's face. She goes, "This is Awakener. Peach?"
I hear you loud and kind of clear. What's going on?
She says, wow, I cannot believe we actually found you. Okay, a lot of stuff has happened. It's not good.
We heard about Sulan.
We've been looking for you. Where are you?
Who's with you?
Basically, everyone who was on board Awakener when you left, like all the crew, Arcazan, and here. She sort of moves out of the way, and you see a familiar face. The individual kind of like leans down, looks at you, and says, "Well, it's good to see you again, Peach." And you see as the inevitable just sort of like is looking at the screen, says, "I've got to say, your alternate self really didn't make it easy to track all of you."
Yeah. How long have you? How far out are you guys?
Just about coming in. Are you at the base?
Yeah.
Okay.
Station.
We're up in the station.
Understood. That's a big copy in 10-4 on that. We will be there shortly.
Before you go, I don't know who's with you, but did we lose anyone in the fight?
Well, he kind of like looks where you can tell, like Alma is not on screen anymore, but he kind of like looks towards where she obviously is and says, I mean, we weren't at the fight per se. As soon as we got everything squared away with the navigation and all that kind of stuff, we broadcast it to the fleet, and they took off, and we came looking for you. Figured you might need some backup. We weren't even there. From all reports, though, nobody made it out.
Okay, it's great to see you.
Likewise.
We'll see you soon.
Understood. See you in a minute. And the communication cuts out.
From where we are in the orbital station, I don't know how far out the FTL signal is coming from, but Bina is planetary scale, ship speak, literally just like holding it out as far as she can, like waiting for Awakener to come.
Like a dog waiting at the door.
Yeah. Like she's like with her brain like as far as planetary scale as far out as it goes from here, just like waiting.
You feel the moment that Awakener like drops into your out of FTL, like right into your range.
Hello?
You feel Awakener's response as like, just immediately feel Awakener's response.
Hello, Awakener? May I speak with Alma? She's like doesn't know that Alma's okay.
Yeah. There's a beat, and then you, like, hear in your head. You hear Alma's voice saying, "Bina."
Hi. Are you okay? Is everyone okay?
Um.
I mean, I know things aren't okay, but like, are you okay?
Yeah. No, we're all fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're coming to you. Orbital station, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll be right there. Whose ship is that?
Masons, but a different Mason.
Oh,
What happened? We'll
okay.
fill you in.
Okay, sure. We'll be there in a second.
It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, you too.
See you soon.
We'll cut a little bit ahead as Awakener is not finally docks with the orbital station as well. Basically pushing the docking capacity of the orbital station to its absolute extreme. But yeah, with that, the crew of Awakener, Alma, Abriel, and honestly probably Ari would be there too, because Ari would not have stayed with the fleet. Um, uh, you Archazon is there too, but sort of hanging way back. And of course, the inevitable. Sedona is also present. As they sort of disembark, meeting all of you there at the
Alma
dock.
gets a running hug from Bina, like full speed. Like, she is not that strong. She's not that heavy. She is pretty small, but full speed, full strength, forearmed, oof hug
Yeah.
from
I was
from
just,
Bina.
okay. Hi. It's good to see you too. And she just sort of holds on to you tightly. The inevitable is sort of standing, kind of hovering over her shoulder, making eye contact with you, Bina, as you're hugging her, and he says, things have been tough. It's not good out there.
Yeah, we kind of got bamboozled a little bit.
Yeah. He kind of looks past you to sort of the gathering of people behind you. Says, "Looks like it was worth it, though. At least."
I hope so.
Um,
How are Alma and the inevitable feeling, since they're the two who are next to me?
They are relieved, but that's sort of forefront, and background much stronger is that sort of numb devastation.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you guys are okay.
Yeah. Us too.
Bina will end hug, but is gonna keep kind of two hands locked into two separate belt buckles of Alma. It is not not letting go. Or belt loops.
Yeah. The inevitable just sort of looks around and says, "There's a lot we have to talk about. Things have drastically changed in your absence. We should probably... these people look like they are in various stages of malnourishment. Early stages, of course. Yeah.
We're gonna food stuff.
We can
first.
get something... and
And
Sedona
then-
says, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. I'll handle it. You should get caught up. I'll take care of it."
Okay.
And she's just sort of she has basically been under Jade's arm this whole time, and sort of pulls away and gives his hand a squeeze, and then just says, "All of you, it's really nice to meet those of you that I haven't met before. Who's hungry?" And she just sort of leads the families into Awakener.
Bina does I think the Obor's eyes are very magnetic
Mhm.
to get all the time, so they come over by and she's like, okay, so that's Sedona, and that's Mr. the Inevitable, and that's Abriel, and that's... And she gives a quick
Yeah.
point really fast as they're passing her, and they're okay, hand hold, and then they're gone. They're very dramatic.
Yeah. Liara walks up to you, Peach, and just sort of immediately hugs you, and then pulls away, and then just gives you a quick kiss, and just says, I'm really glad to see that you're okay.
You too. I wasn't sure where you were.
That's what I was gonna say. It's
Oh, you know me. I always turn out okay.
it's just good to see you.
I don't
Oh.
want your professional opinion on that sentence.
She says, I have some amount of self-control.
And I give her another kiss.
Yeah. And she says, let's
Oh, do you want to meet my mom?
she kind of like looks over your shoulder and you can see her eyes sort of like widen for a moment.
Wait, is my mom in the? She's not here right now.
I sort of assume that she is because this is
I
sort
feel
of
like she came with, because that's why I would say that, because I
Yeah.
just want to like point, like
yeah.
just like
She goes, oh,
dart my eyes
it's
over to her. It
it's
was mostly
re-
a joke.
I'm sorry. It's so good to meet you finally. And your mom just sort of looks between the two of you and says, yes, I look forward to getting to know you. And like says this without breaking eye contact with you, Peach.
I can I get anything from her? What's her reaction?
This is absolutely the protective parent thing.
Mhm.
This is like 100% the like I am going to vet you, background checks beginning to end, everything kind of like this
Yeah.
is that kind of
I give her just like a full like just a stare back, like unfaltering.
And she like finally breaks eye contact and says somebody was saying something about briefing on the situation out in the galaxy.
Good transition. Yes, that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, Liarli just sort of turns not like look a little bit relieved. And
I
the
just kind of lean in and just say before
Yeah.
I just lean into Lorelai and say, you did a good job. She's just like that.
she just sort of says, I can kind of see where you get it now. Before you can have a chance to respond to that, the inevitable says, yes, we were about to convene in our well, what is essentially, I guess, our new mobile situation room in the observation deck of Awakener.
It is a good place.
And with that, y'all sort of enter. Old Man Mason is sort of like still kind of like leaning in sort of at the entrance to the hatch of his ship and goes, well, I guess my work here is done. I'll I think
Welcome to stick around.
he kind of like looks past you, says, might be a little crowded.
I mean, we once had like 75 people on the ship. So like
Yeah, I hated that. I didn't sleep.
that was a lot. We could deal. You can sleep. I couldn't sleep. You kidding me? That's a lot of brains. I'm
that's-
bored. We could
yeah.
handle one more if you wanted to stick around.
He kind of like makes eye contact with you, Mason. Says,
It's up to you.
all right, I'll stick around. Says, as the group begins sort of like moving towards Awakener, he falls into step and he says, "Oh, here, you look like shit without it," and hands it to you. Hands you your hat back.
I'm gonna give Old Man Mason a hug. Like as he walks by, Bina like snaps him into a forearm hug real
He
quick.
goes,
and
"Oh, hey."
It's kind of like, I don't think we said thank you. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'll let him go.
Yeah. We'll cut
That
to
means thanks.
Huh?
That means thanks.
we'll cut to the observation deck on Awakener, as the group is sort of is gathered around and sort of listening to sort of the end of the Inevitable's recap of basically everything that happened since you left, which essentially boils down to Archazon was able to put together sort of a workaround for the conduits, to a sort of shortcut to sort of hack the conduits a little bit, and basically finding routes using Awakener's interface with the conduits that basically were previously undiscovered, and had allowed expedited travel of the fleet through conduits. However, it was sort of in the FTL that they kind of in between conduits that they were sort of still caught up. At one point, actually having to sort of fight a brief sortie against a a small contingent of corporate ships that they were able to get through, but not without some losses. And then proceed on to Sulan. But by the time they got there, it was too late. Sulan had already been reinforced by a corporate fleet that was ready and waiting for them the moment they dropped out of FTL, and just obliterated them almost instantaneously, with a barrage, a devastating barrage, and pretty much since then, it's only been a couple of days since then, but basically Sulan has become kind of just an impregnable fortress at this point. No word on what happened to the ground crews that were already inside Sulan. But there's been no contact, basically. And the Inevitable finishes saying this, and Alma just sort of, her hands sort of spread on the table as she kind of leans on it. Just says, "So, in summary, the resistance is gone, and we're fucked."
But we're still here.
The losses are horrific, but the resistance isn't gone. We just need to grow.
Thing is, I don't know if we can do that in time. They're with the forces that they've amassed, nobody's standing against them. At this point, Calwraith Senior, she speaks up and says, "That will change. I've managed to get a hold of some of the remaining cabinet in the Commonwealth, and I will be, as soon as I can get to them, I will be meeting with them to organize a response to everything that's happened. In fact,
Oh, go ahead.
In fact, I am going to bring to them the proposal that we should reach out to what is left of the Ascendancy as well. We all suffered devastating losses under this corporate assault. There's no way that any one of us can handle this alone. But something needs to be done."
Yeah.
We should be there as representatives.
I think you're going to have your hands full. If I don't fully understand everything that has been said here, but this is what I do. I can handle this. Jade has his arms crossed and is just sort of says, "I just wish there was something we could have done." Says, "Tan, couldn't you just travel back in time and change it? I mean, you just take us back there and just..."
That's I mean, I have been thinking about it, but I'm still trying to figure out if that will just branch off a new timeline and just create a new doomed one. It doesn't always happen.
The Inevitable nods. He says, "Honestly, the thought had crossed our mind too, but unfortunately, the only way that would have worked without doing that really would have been to time travel to the uh, the important moment and change it while it was still in a state of quantum superposition, i.e., you not knowing about how it turned out. Unfortunately, now you do, and we've had this whole entire conversation. That's not really an option anymore.
But no one knows how the ground team fared, right?
It's not.
I mean,
looking-
I don't.
That's
It's,
true.
Of course, not good, but
Um,
I
Dina,
can.
or I can't hear you, Caitlin.
We could go there. We could go talk to the caretakers, maybe.
Bina, you very suddenly feel like from Jade excitement. He like looks up at you and just says, wait. Hold on. Inevitable. You said that that the fleet was destroyed immediately, right? Upon exiting FTL? The Inevitable nods, says, yeah, I mean, practically pulverized the whole damn thing. And Jade says, okay, but what if they didn't? Says,
What do
I
you
don't,
mean?
I'm not following. He says, Taeyeon, remember Nurse What? Season 38, episode 16? Says, when the nurse, basically everything was lost, and then the nurse, like the battle was over, and the nurse went back
Wait,
in.
no.
Says, yes. What if we hack time?
Okay, what does that mean?
Okay.
What is he
I'm
suggesting?
not caught up on Nurse Watch. I thought, wasn't there a watch party happening? I thought you were catching.
Yeah, sorry, I've been a
Sorry.
bit busy.
A little behind, actually. Yeah.
The Inevitable says,
I don't have as much time as you.
wait a minute, are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? And says, are you actually suggesting that we go back in time and allow things to appear that they played out the way that they played out?
I think that's exactly what Jade is suggesting, and that's going to be very difficult. But it might work, especially with the quantum stability of that moment.
Jade says, exactly. Especially, like, look, the only thing that we know is that as far as the rest of the galaxy knows, the Resistance fleet was destroyed immediately upon exiting FTL. I mean, there's basically nothing left, right? He says a barrage like that wouldn't have left much. Inevitable
What if
says,
a fake fleet came through?
Jade nods. Exactly. Peach, remember the pirates?
Yeah. So you want us to trick time in the galaxy? I don't see why not.
Time is surprisingly reliant on, I guess, people.
Perception. All time is our
perception.
perception of time.
Well,
the passing
okay,
of it.
but here's the thing. That's all well and good, and I mean maybe that could work, but then consider that the Resistance fleet has to basically hide out completely off the grid, and literally no contact. Nobody can know that they exist for at least, well, until today.
We've done that before.
I mean, I'm talking full-on communications blackout, no signals in or out, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Zilch.
Yeah. She kind of like gestures out to the base. We did it here before. Let's start looking
Hey,
for a new home.
How good are you, Bean, how good are you at manipulating light?
She disappears, and then in her place, there's like the start of a giant sun that snaps out, and she comes back into view. Pretty good.
Do you think? Okay, so at the end of the day, radio waves, all of that is just different wavelengths of light. They're all the same thing. Do you think you can manipulate that as well? Bend, at the very least, bend it around us whenever sensors do try and detect our ships. I don't. That's a pretty large scale. I understand if you can't, but I
I've never
suppose that's
tried
the
it
only thing that's
before.
coming to mind.
But I can
at
sure
this
give
point,
it a shot.
At this point, Archazon, who has sort of been lurking towards the back of all of this, steps forward and says, "There may be an easier way.
Please.
Perhaps. Well, from I've been doing some studying about your technological advancements since, well, in my time. I've been trying to catch up. But perhaps, well, there is a device that has not been invented by any of your people yet, because there was no need for it until recently. But my people were able to develop a piece of technology. It's called an extra normal resonance extrapolator. Vix just sort of goes, "Are we married to that name?"
I kind of like the name.
Says, "It was when beings in my time, began to develop these abilities, such as yourselves, we found a way to enhance them by merging our science and our technology into our ships, creating essentially an interface between an individual and the technology of our vessels."
Bina immediately looks at Alma.
Alma goes, "So, what? What's happening?"
Someone connected to the vessel that was made by Archons.
I mean, I don't know that I can be that.
But
And
is that what happened? Is that what happened to you?
she says, "I honestly don't know.
I look at Archon. Could that have been what happened to her?
It is possible, but it would have likely have destroyed whatever the event that created Alma as we know her now, would likely have destroyed the extrapolator. My old shuttle, my ship contained one. Unfortunately, it has been consumed by the puddle of sentient matter. However, if, as I understand, you have the ability to travel through time, we could return there and remove it before the ship is consumed." This ship...
This is a lot of jumping.
Yeah, I want to know how Taeyeon feels about that.
Taeyeon, I am very tired. I'm gonna be entirely honest, but, and he taps the reactor that's in his chest.
Mhm.
I have some spare leftover chronokinetic energy that I've been storing for the eventual trip. And I look at Ada back to our time, so I can use that to get us back there. I probably need. Does anyone have any? I don't know, any tech that they don't need, because I think some extra juice would be also very useful.
Jade says, "I think we probably got some spare power cells, things like partially depleted, at least mostly too depleted to be used in the ship, but..."
Yeah.
I mean,
perfect.
while we're on it's not a satellite. What the station, the orbital station?
Yeah.
I mean, we could gut it if there's anything here that might be useful.
That's true. I think there's probably a few things that could be pulled. There might even be some spare power cells somewhere stored away.
Even down on planet. I mean, we've got a whole facility that we just up and left. There's
maybe not
just
a whole facility.
A partial
There's
facility.
part of
hole
the
in the
facility is
facility.
under snow.
We have
Like-
a little bit of a facility, and but we all just got up and left. There might still be stuff left over. We can do a big
Where are
big
we
search
trying
and
to jump to
overhaul.
right now?
The inevitable frowns and says, "Well, honestly, if you're a bit strapped for energy, Taeyeon, I suggest that probably the best place to start would be this gentleman's ship. Then you can rest while we install it. It should, from everything that I've learned, it should be compatible with Awakener's systems. Well, it's base OS at least."
Okay. And I'll just, I guess, get a piece of tech to just strain. I'm going to take a very long nap after all of this. I just want that to make that very
You
clear.
want to take a nap first? I mean, we can. While we look for stuff, you can sleep.
Yeah,
and then
we have plenty to do.
Yeah, the tech heads can go and scrounge.
In
give
fairness,
us specs.
the nice thing about time travel is that, well,
Yeah.
in, you know, not exactly on a schedule.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get some rest.
All right. Well, while you are doing that, I will be drawing up the temporal calculations and see if I can do my best so we can have the minimal impact. Because here is the thing. Here is the crux of the issue. If we do not do this exactly right, it will result in a branched timeline. That is something that we do not want. Now, we basically get exactly one shot at this thing. So, the goal here pretty much is to make sure that everything plays out exactly as it did before and alter only the key things that will not be noticed, that do not affect overall perception of the situation.
Okay. One thing we can change is make sure the people on the ground are safe. I've been practicing on how to make my doppelganger last for a bit longer. It's not much, just a minute, but a minute should be enough for them to jump around and warn the people that we dropped on the ground. At the very least, long enough for them to hide somewhere or just be ready and not reveal themselves, because it'll be a slaughter if they do.
I hear your concern, and I'm right there with you. But here's the thing. Anybody sees you, it changes everything. I mean, with every point of contact that you have, it has exponential it could cause exponential changes, and we don't want to risk that.
If we know where they're hidden, I mean, I can get them out.
Caretaker. God damn it. If we find a caretaker and tell them, then all of Sulon knows, and we could ask them to pass the message. Only one collective has seen you then, but
That's still pretty big.
yeah.
Mason, maybe I could send you through and you could look different.
I suppose.
Jade just sort of frowns and says, Peach could, I mean, it's not maybe the most ethical thing, but couldn't you incept the hive? Like, give them, like, tell them to, like, rescue or, like, warn the ground team, but without knowing that you that you did it?
Oh, yeah, like send them that message without knowing it came from me. I could definitely do that. I could almost certainly do that. I would just need to be there.
Yeah. The inevitable nod says, I mean, that might work. The thing is, yeah, minimal contact. As long as there is no contact, or at the very least, nobody realizes that there has been contact. And nothing can be traced back to this.
Yeah, and the caretakers wouldn't spread. I mean, they would only talk to themselves anyway.
We have no way of knowing how that might affect things. So,
Okay.
in as much as possible,
Knowing.
I recommend we cover our tracks the best we can.
I can keep them from knowing it was us.
Well, all right then. I'll start drawing up some calculations then.
I'm gonna take a nap.
At this point, you see, like, the inevitable seems to, like, take in your appearances for the first time. And he says, oh, well, yes, you do rather look a bit peaked. So, I'd say go ahead and rest up. We'll get all of this squared away and ready for you by the time you, awaken.
Bina probably looks relatively fine because she was not long ago. So while that's happening, Bina's gonna grab Jade and Alma and Adis Bricks and probably just that crew, and we're gonna start scavenging for parts for Taeon. because Ada would know what we need, and these are my tech heads, so we're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna go start
Um,
scrounging.
At one point, Jade goes, "You know, this would go a lot faster if we had a few extra hands. And I'm just saying we have 2 additional Chemoth on board."
That's true. That's true. And Baba Oba actually does tech. Oh, we should do that. And then Bean is gonna message to Sedona,
Mhm.
and ask her to send our 2 Chemoth friends, Kital and Ryuk, and also Baba Oba and Somi Oba to come meet us where we are.
Sounds good.
And we're gonna get some help.
All right.
No, not Somi Oba. Somi Oba doesn't know shit about tech, but only Baba Oba. Sorry, I
Baba
forgot.
Oba. Gotcha.
Only
Okay.
Baba Oba.
Sounds good. All right. Well, in that case, as you all split off to kind of go about your tasks / which I'm including resting and as tasks. I think we're gonna go to our break. So
Perfect.
we're gonna take our break right now. We're gonna take just a few minutes. We will be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. We will see you in just a little bit. Welcome back, everybody. We are back from break.
Oh, wait. I have an announcement I forgot for the beginning.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Oh, yes, a very important announcement. Grab
Oh
your
my
hands.
god.
True. Look at him.
Look
I
at-
don't know
Wow.
if it shows on the overlay, but
Yeah, excellent.
It's so good.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got
the
you got the
grabbing
whole
hands.
thing. You got the whole thing in there.
yeah, it's from a Jackbox game I played with chat on my channel like 2 years ago maybe.
Mhm. Somewhere in
And,
there.
I drew the Bina, and I don't know if I was the one who did the caption or if someone else did, but then someone put the shirt together, and I was like, I need to own that. Thank you very much. And now I do, and it's my favorite. So Bina Oba Grabby Hands, and I
Grabby
remembered that I had it.
hands.
So.
I
Anyways,
love that.
That was my announcement.
No,
Sorry.
very important announcement. I think that's thank you. Well, welcome back, everybody. When we left off the crew, we're going to hack time.
You know, it's a normal Wednesday for us.
Yeah. So, we will say during the course of Tan and others who need it resting,
How much rest are we allowed to take here?
I don't know, how much do you want to take?
How much does Taeyeon need? Is that I will match to that.
Intellect-wise, Taeyeon honestly, like just a few items and he can drain those and he'll be good. Everything else-wise, he needs like a full rest, like a full 8 hours of sleep.
Okay.
Same.
What do you want to do? What would be useful then?
Full 8 hours of sleep, I think.
Okay. Well,
Just in case we end up
just
needing
top
other
off.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm down like 7 points.
I
Total.
have 2 in my might pool, 1 in my speed pool, and 10 in my intellect pool. And I only have 10 in my intellect pool because I rolled, I think, like a 7 when I drained Olim's mask. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
You let me take an action recovery roll while I was in the void, and so I was like, I'm just like doing fine.
So while Taeyeon and Mason are sleeping,
I could use some sleep.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bina, Jade, and the others begin finding like whatever like power sources they can find, bringing them together, stripping them out of like redundant systems and all kinds of stuff, just sort of pulling them from wherever you can, sort of like any kind of drained ship's power cells that are too drained to be used in the ship but still have just a little bit of juice left in them. Everything that you can find, just sort of starting to gather it up.
Ina's gonna living light with Baba Oba like 3 times just because, like, for no reason other than like, oh, let's go down the hallway, like just to, like show them what you can do.
Yeah, they are like fascinated by it,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
it's just like it's like a kid on a roller coaster. Like it's just
Oh, yeah.
genuinely like
I can imagine them being like, hey, what if we had to go all the way over there? And then she'd be like, well, we go like, knock them over. Like, very much like goofing off.
excellent.
with her parents.
Yeah. There's at one point while you're all kind of getting ready, Peach, you notice your mom is like chatting with Old Man Mason, and as you approach,
Uh-huh.
He just nods, says, "Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. I'll prepare." And he just sort of gives you a nod and then like walks away. Um,
Made plans?
she nods, says, "Yes. Seeing as how you will be occupied on your mission, I figured the easiest way to get to mine would be with some help. So he's going to be taking me to find the rest of the cabinet members, and we're going to have a conversation about what can be done and what we should be doing against the corporate threat."
Good. That sounds good. I can trust you on this, right? You don't have any other motives. You're doing exactly what you're saying here.
Yes. I You have to understand, Peach, that I made those arrangements with Silverbreak before I knew anything about. I didn't know anything about what they were doing other than that they had found a way to make conduits. It represented an opportunity for the Commonwealth to expand into unknown regions of space. And that's all I knew. I swear to you, that's all I knew.
You should have known something like that would come with a price.
I think on some level I did. I didn't have a good grasp of exactly who I was dealing with. I figured I was dealing with corporations and their motivations, and that was something that I knew, but I had no idea how far their ambitions went. Or that they were somehow secretly under the control of some sort of extra-dimensional being made of thought. I mean, how could...
Yeah, that one was a bit of a surprise to us all.
Well... But no. The corporations have become an existential threat. One that I believe I can convince others to take seriously. And, well, might be able to convince some of the other Commonwealth leadership to pull their heads out of their asses.
Wow, strong language.
She smiles, says, "Captivity changes a person."
Ain't that the truth?
She just sort of gives you like a very sort of like soft smile, and there's just, I know that I wasn't always the parent that you needed. But in all honesty, Mirabelle, I'm not sure I knew how to do anything different.
Well, it's not too late. It's nice to be on the same side for once.
It is.
I always knew you could harness that for good. Can I look at your speech? I'd like to see it.
Speech? Admit I haven't quite gotten to that point just yet.
Do you want any help writing it? I have a little bit of time before I have to.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, let's do that.
And I'm gonna where are we at this point?
I sort of assume you're in Awakener, probably in like she honestly, knowing her, at no point has she left like the observation deck with like
Yeah.
the planning table and like
Yeah,
the...
I was like, we're definitely in the conference
yes,
room.
absolutely. Even
I'll
on
show
an
you how to pull
entirely
this up.
unfamiliar ship, like she is most at home in the conference room.
yeah. So I show her like I like pull up all of the like feeds and like show her how to use everything. And
Yeah. And yeah. So, with that, I think we will, unless, Caitlin, you have any, like, sort of scene, Mason and Tan are asleep, so unless you have any specific scenes that you want to have.
I don't know. I don't necessarily need. I don't think a scene right now, but I think Bina would once we finished our little scavenger hunt. We were told they had a little bit of a scuffle on Awakener, so she would go above and beyond in tandem, showing Somi Oba and Baba Oba Awakener, and also doing repairs.
Oh, Awakener didn't have a scuffle.
Oh, who did? What?
It was the Resistance fleet had the Resistance
had a
fleet.
separate thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's still been a week, technically, even though not for in her time, since she's had a time to mess with Awakener, so she would still probably show her parents around.
Sure.
And then also answer all of their questions with a complete honesty, now that we are not in like, oh god, I need to spill everything right now, and then really bad at it, but if there's like, over the course of a few hours, like, she will explain to them everything that's happened.
Yeah, that sounds good. Then with that, in that case, then we'll just say, we'll cut to a little bit, sometime later after Tan and Mason have slept, after everybody has slept to various degrees, you all kind of coming back together. The inevitable is sort of pointing at like calculations he's drawn up and just says, all right, so here's the thing. I think I've got this all pretty much mapped out. From what I could tell, you will have minimal impact on the extraction of the extrapolator. Not a whole lot to disturb there. As long as you don't wake our friend before his time, I think you should be all right. And let's see. So that should be pretty straightforward and simple. Much more difficult, I think, will be basically the rest of it, but we'll work on that once we've got the extrapolator hardwired into Awakener.
Okay. Just me above game, because I'm honestly just very tired, but also just all over the place. The extrapolator is where on the?
It's on the ship that you rescued Archazon from.
Archazon.
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alma just says, "Hey, you mind if I come with you? I mean, I'm not Bina, but
Yeah.
I'm handy. I could probably try to."
That's perfect. The limit isn't too ridiculous. I can probably take up to 10 if I wanted to, but I don't think we want to bring too large of a team.
The more
better.
people you take with you, the higher the impact. So I would recommend you keep it to basics.
Okay. Was anyone able to grab some tech I could use? I mean,
Bina's like, oh, okay, and she goes out to the hallway,
Jade just grins. He just
and like wheels in like this huge cart that she has to like slide her feet across the ground to like try to get. And there's 3 more in the bay. So.
and a crate.
And
like
the crate.
small
yes.
crate, like little
And the
hand
little-
crate.
yes.
But yeah.
So 3 carts, a crate, and then there was like some overflow, but that's only like 4 or 5 pieces that are just on.
Okay.
But they're all down there.
Tis on me. Is there anything more portable I can carry around as me?
You got lots to choose from.
Okay.
Jade just
So
starts like digging through the pile and start like taking stuff.
was with us and did direct us, so I'm sure there's something that.
Yeah.
Jade goes, all right, here's a power cell. This one might be a little hefty, but I mean it'll work. Here's that.
I think I can probably attach it to my side or something.
He goes, yeah, here you go. Just be really careful with this one. These tend to be a little on the leaky side, and I don't really want you to, I mean, you dealt with the whole radiation poisoning thing already, and
Oh,
not fun.
yeah.
Here you go.
Thank you.
And, let's see, this one, I think this will work. Here. And, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, there you go. That should be okay. Okay.
Archazon says, I think perhaps I should come as well. I can identify the piece that you need as well as anything to look out for.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Neville says, just make sure, yes, I understand, not to interact with myself or anything that... Yes, I understand. He says, right, well, good luck.
Thank you. Who's coming with?
Alma and Archazon raise their hands.
Okay.
Keep it small, right?
Mostly. Yeah. Yeah, this should be easy.
Bean is gonna
Grab on.
just like super fast, like squeeze Alma's hand when she walks past to give them the room.
Yeah, she like pauses when you do and just sort of looks at you, looks down at your hand, looks at you, and then just be back in a second.
See you soon.
Hopefully, literally.
I suppose I wouldn't hurt to disguise myself, huh? Just in case.
Yeah, just in case we run into something or someone. I do remember that ship being not in the greatest spot. So any extra aid would be useful in that half.
Mason visibly changes in front of you. Just like the rippling of the skin, just like the morphing slightly different, and suddenly like a clean shaven, like 6'1", like very skinny dude.
Nice. Okay. Well, hold on. Oh. And I just wait for everyone to place a hand on me.
They do so.
Oh boy, it's been a while since I did anything more than a couple of days. With a jump. Okay. And he's gonna reach for the arc reactor in his chest and just kind of twist it. And before you saw like a very calm like greens, blues, purples, you start seeing them like switch between the colors faster and faster, almost swirl, and then seem to leak out of the arc reactor and start spreading across him and then over across everyone else who is touching him. And then very similar to when he had, not originally, but when the second time he showed up to all of you, that spreads out even further to just be a literal, it kind of looks like just I guess an aurora borealis right in the middle of the deck, and then it just all engulfs, and then as we travel back, I want to use time travel.
Excellent.
So yeah, I can. You and up to 3 willing characters. I can do more than that if I use effort, which I obviously will be. Within immediate range, so they all touch me.
I think
immediate range.
It's just 3 of you.
It's you,
Oh, just 3.
Alma, Archazon, and is Mason going?
Yeah.
Mace said he's going, but different
Okay.
face. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's
You
don't have to. You don't have to.
you don't have to spend anything. It's you and
then
up
3
to
willing?
you and 3.
Oh,
willing.
okay, yeah. Okay, cool.
There's one.
Even better then. Yeah, we can travel to any point within 10 years of the present.
So how far back are you going to the shuttle? Because, like, you have like a few months span to pick from, but like
yeah. I think I'm going to go like maybe a month or 2 prior to when we had arrived. Because I remember us looking to see if there's any signs, like recent signs of disturbance, and there wasn't. And I feel like a month or 2 would be enough to like re-hide any footsteps.
Sure.
footprints, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I'm gonna travel back then.
All right. So here is an important detail that I think about your ability that it needs to be stated, because I just remembered this. When you travel in time, you reappear in the exact place.
Yeah.
So
Travel.
so you should probably travel from the station. And even that might not
That's
work
good.
even that might not work because it is orbiting. So like
We
Yeah.
could put them down in the base, probably.
Um,
yeah.
Yeah. Either that or so at the very least from what I at least the way they've worded like the time travel, the traveling, like time travel and teleportation stuff,
Mhm.
as long as I know of if I'm able to, like, maybe I don't know, AD could have done this, like tracked where it would have been that many
True,
months ago,
yeah,
so I can be
that
like, okay, this is the space point in space and time that I need to keep in mind.
Combining the teleportation and the time
Yeah,
travel
kind
kind of thing.
vibe.
sure. I Yeah, I think that's probably that's feasible. But it's also just as feasible, I think, to like be on the planet, so like on the
Yeah,
planet's
yeah.
surface, so like easy
Yeah.
enough to do either way. We'll just assume it works. And yeah, you find yourself once again standing on that island of rock. Once you when you as you travel there, you find yourselves on the island of rock just outside of this crashed ship. All around you, you can see the sort of like very sort of like currently placid lake of sort of this oily black sort of biomatter that just seems currently unaware of your presence. However, you do feel that sort of cold and charged atmosphere that you felt before. As you look around, Alma just sort of shudders and she says, "Ooh, okay, this is, yeah, not great.
We should be quick. The air around here is not great for our health.
Yeah."
If we stay too long.
Alma sort of hefts a bag of like tools over her shoulder and looks up at the ship, at the crash wreckage. You walk up to it, and as you walk up, you see kind of the side of the ship where I think was it Bina that entered through sort of like a rent in the side of the ship. But as you look at it, there is a gash in the side of the ship, but it's nowhere near large enough for anyone to get through. Certainly not even large enough for Bina to have gotten through.
Okay, well that's interesting. I guess we did this, and I guess I'm gonna try to rent this because I don't want to make too much noise. I think that's the biggest thing. From remembering it, what it looked like it was clearly pulled apart, or was like a part of it missing. Basically,
It was like, yeah, it's
apart?
sort of, honestly, it looked like it could have like been torn, like it was sort of like sheared open, went through like
Okay.
when it crashed is what it looked like.
Okay.
So yeah, it was, yeah, it was basically just sort of like a large hull breach.
Okay. I think he's very, very careful trying to make sure everything is exactly how it is, and his instinct was to use dust to dust, but that won't like rend it apart. That would just make part of it
Mm-hmm.
disappear. Hey, does anyone know if they could, I don't know, help me pull this a bit wider open, and just pay attention to when I say stop, because it has to be open in a very specific way.
Alma looks up and says, "I mean, I think I've got some mag clamps in the bag here." And she's like, takes the bag off and just sort of unzips it and starts pulling through. It says, "Right here."
That's very handy.
And she's like hands one to you, Taeon, and takes the other one, and just sort of like sets it. She says, "Put it on the other side, opposite from this."
Okay.
And she engages the clamp. She reaches down into the bag and pulls out the control unit for them. And she says, "Okay, let's see." And she turns on, and you watch as the mag clamps like secure and then begin pushing away from each other as they start kind of.
Perfect. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Stop now.
She stops it and says, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay," and she removes
That's
them and puts them back in.
Might be a bit of a tight squeeze for you, and I like point at Mason, but this is how big it will be. Currently, let's just walk in, okay? He's gonna climb through.
Yeah. Yeah. You all step into the familiar wreckage, that that you once stood in shortly before it was consumed by the lake of sentient biomatter. So yeah, stepping inside, you find yourselves just like Bina did, kind of on the bridge. You see the cryostasis unit still active and intact, and you can see as Archazon stands there and just sort of stares at it for a moment, and just sort of his alien features sort of inscrutable at this point. As you step in, like Alma looks and she like clocks this, and just sort of puts a hand on his forearm and just says, "You okay?" And he nods and says, "Yes." It was all dark. I was not aware when I was in there. It's not a comfortable feeling to be in such a state for thousands of years. Yeah, I bet not. But hey, he's only got another month to wait. Yes. Yes. We should focus on the task at hand.
Yes, and before anyone moves, Archazon, where exactly do we need to go to? I'm sorry to be so control freak about this, but when we originally showed up, there were no signs that anyone had been here for a while, so I want to make sure that we leave as little as possible.
Of course. We must go to the engine room. This way.
Perfect. Either way.
Alright. So, the four of you, move towards engineering. You are able to find the location, and Archazon points it out. He says, This right here is the extranormal resonance extrapolator. This is what we need. And it's just sort of like this boxy apparatus that is patched into the framework of the ship, in the engine room, with all kinds of like glowing tubes and cables that are connecting it into the ship itself. And Alma looks at it and says, "Okay, I'll get to work then." And she starts setting to work with tools, trying to get it free.
Mason just kind of has his gun out and is just gonna kind of keep an eye out around the area.
Okay. I am going to offer a group intrusion, by which I mean group meaning Taeyeon and Mason.
I was like,
I'm
can
gonna
we say
accept
it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Always.
Let's do it.
Cool. So, you take, go ahead and take the XP, and you see as Alma disconnects something, there's just very suddenly a power, like the ship itself just fully powers down. Lights go off entirely.
Okay.
Alma goes, "Oh no, that's not good."
I turn to Archazon. Is this going to be affecting your sleep?
Almost certainly, yes. And he like looks closely and says, "Ah, I had feared this." He like points to something, and Alma goes, "Oh shit." Says, Okay. Looks like uh, this was installed in sequence here, which means that if I remove this, no power.
Okay, okay. Um, God,
We,
I.
should we plug it back in?
Uh, here. She like sets it back into the like position that it was in. The power comes back
Okay.
on, and she says, Okay.
Let's think now.
um,
Now we
I could try to bypass it, but this is an alien ship to me. I don't really know how to do this kind of thing, and quite frankly, I'm not sure that the that the ship's computers will be able to compensate for a patch job, especially not long enough for you all to come a month from now and rescue him.
Um, I. Okay. What if? And do you think he could J-rig this and he's gonna pull out the arc reactor in his um chest and go, do you think you can rig this? I still have enough after that race that I could take us without this. Do you
Are
think
you?
this would be enough to keep it for at least a month?
I mean, maybe, but are you sure? I mean, that's your way home.
That's fine. I could figure out what to do later, but I'm not gonna have a home unless we make sure this plan works.
It'll take some time to try to interface it with the ship's systems, but maybe.
I'll,
Here.
I'll help out. I know this tech more than anyone.
Okay. Uh, I'm just gonna see if I can. And you can see as she like reaches over to like one of the consoles nearby. She doesn't touch it, and it like responds to, and she goes, "Did
I saw that.
Yeah.
she just wait a second?" And she just sort of takes a second and she like closes her eyes, and then they suddenly snap open again. She says, "I can hear it. Just like Awakener, I can hear it."
Oh,
Okay. So is this going to make it easier for you to do what you need to do with this then?
I think I could just convince the ship, and I don't think I need your reactor.
Okay.
amazing.
She just sort of like reaches up and sort of like runs her hand along sort of one of the bulkhead panels, and just sort of closes her eyes, and then just, yeah, it's gonna work. And she just sort of reaches up and like just disconnects the extrapolator once again, and this time the power stays on. Okay. And she's sort of like, Mason, bring the bag.
Brings the bag over, opens it up.
Yeah, she like carefully lowers it into the bag.
Good job.
Thanks. Uh, it it never even occurred to me that Awakener isn't the only tech of your people that I could interface with. Archazon nods slowly, says, "It does seem rather limited in scope." And she nods, says, "Yeah. Does this mean I can interface with conduits?" She
I
don't see
think
why
that'll be
not.
something we will love to try and will definitely put us at the advantage.
She just shakes her head and says, "It never even occurred to me to try."
Put
Okay.
a pin in that. Let's head back. Yeah. Okay.
Can we just go from here, or do we have to go back outside?
Let's go from here. The less footprints we leave behind, the better.
Almost like as you say that, you feel that charge begin to build in the air suddenly.
Just put a hand on your shoulder. Mason does. Just like,
I believe
Yep.
we have been discovered.
Yeah. Let's try and jump. I'm gonna try.
Okay.
Try and jump. Again. Yeah, same costs. I don't. It's not really much thanks to Edge.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna jump back to the present.
All right.
Quote unquote present. Present is subjective. To the last point in time that we were before this one.
Fair. Yes, you return once again to your point of departure, and to your time of departure. I'm gonna say you come back literally just a few seconds later. So like from, if anybody, like Peach and Bina, like sort of standing there watching them just sort of gone.
He immediately starts like chewing on the end of
Yeah.
her fingers, like I don't know. Is it gonna take? Is it supposed to take this long? Is it
Jade
gonna
just goes,
awaken?
so how long exactly? And then they're just all back.
Sorry we were late. I took the wrong turn at. Yeah.
Took a wrong turn at yesterday, and
Took the wrong turn
Well-
yesterday. Ended up in next year. It was weird.
You're pretty
Um,
quick.
We'll let it go because it was only like 4 seconds late. So
Oh, 4
was it cool? Was
seconds?
it good? Was it you? Did you? Yeah, it was. I actually didn't time it. I was making that up, but we can.
Okay, I got
Check
really
the
upset
sensors.
because that's probably be my worst time.
Did you find
It
it?
was fine. I think we got noticed by the
Mason holds
wall near the end, but
Mm.
we and I pointed to Mason. We got it.
we got it.
Okay.
We got out.
Alma grabs your shoulder, Bina, and just says, Bina,
Huh?
I could hear Archazon's ship.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
I could
Why
hear
haven't we
it.
heard that before?
I don't know.
Okay, I mean, we tried. I think we talked about maybe like other stations you had tried before, but it was nothing. But it's the same. Is it conduits? Wait, conduits?
That's
Wait,
what I said.
Con-
I don't.
Mm,
I'd never even thought about trying.
me either.
That would be a great turn of events.
Um,
And really
do
cool.
try it. I would appreciate if we try it maybe when the corpse ships are going through a conduit, just in case it goes wrong. Then it's the corpse.
Oh
that's
yeah,
suffering.
for sure. I mean, I'm gonna try like reaching out and introducing myself
Just-
first. But
Yeah. Say hi.
Yeah.
Sounds polite.
Take it.
if
Take it to dinner.
if you all do not mind, it might be a good idea to start installing that thing as soon as possible.
Yes, let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, someone who knows more about that should take it from my hands.
Bina will.
And I'm going to get out of this disguise, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you think?
Oh,
Artisan?
and-
Yeah.
And Taeyeon, next time you time travel, I should probably come with just in case anyone sees us that shouldn't see us, and then I can
Yeah.
wipe
that's
their memory.
good.
She kind of says it and kind of like shrugs, like, "Yeah, I can wipe memories," you know.
Jade sort of narrows his eyes. He says, "I wonder if that's why that terrible lake was so dead set on trying to get us."
'Cause some of us had been there.
Been there before and they didn't catch us the first time. Yeah. Probably.
Well,
I woke up on the wrong side of the riverbed. Okay. Archazon and Alma, would you help me with this? Just gonna.
yeah, sure. Of course.
Even your past self screws over your future, or your future self screws over your
Past self.
past self.
Past selves.
I've been pretty good with all of myself. They've been pretty helpful.
All right.
You see, like, if anyone
I
like
love that
notices,
attitude. I
Mason
love-
like steps around the corner, but his like shadow is still kind of like, you see like his shadow silhouetted on the wall, and you just see like him shift from this tall, like skinnier version, and then goes back down just a little bit, a little less of that height, and then the fedora just kind of comes into sight, and as he comes back around the corner, you just see like the metamorphosis of the shadow only, and then Mason comes back around the corner, kind of wiping his brow. It's like, all right.
Mason says, "Let
Next.
me change into something a little more comfortable."
Um,
I'm so sorry, Mason. Was Mason gonna say something when he came back in?
What's next?
Bina,
Sipping a
say-
cup of coffee.
Where did he get that? No, Bina and Alma and Archazon, and if Ada Sprix is around and would like to help out, we're gonna go
okay.
install some tech.
Sounds good. Bina, I'm gonna need you to give me a roll. It's probably an intellect task, frankly. But yeah, you have an asset from Alma, of course.
Yes. What is the task?
Right. The difficulty. This is for installing. This is for installing
Yes,
the
yes, yes, yes,
thing.
yes.
The difficulty of this one is going to be 9.
Okay. All right. So I have an asset from
Yeah.
Alma. Dropping to 8.
Also, the because the engine room has sort of been retrofitted. Basically you have to get into the guts of the ship in order to basically where the old parts of the ship are to make sure that you have a much more
Yes,
a more
connection is
compatible
correct.
connection.
Yes,
You could theoretically do it from the engine room, but you might
I don't know.
yeah.
The overhauls might have changed some things.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get up and in the guts. Yes.
Okay.
Bina's crawling around and this trail of people. Archazon is very large.
Yeah,
It's
Archazon is large, but he's also not bulky. Archazon is very
so
sort
my
of
crew fit.
spindly.
My
Yeah.
little crew fits. We're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 9, 8 for Alma.
Mhm.
And with an asset, I immediately drop it again.
Yep.
I get an asset for my Orzai crew because Adasrix is here.
Yep.
Mechanic.
Yes, absolutely.
Jury rigging.
In a weird
Because
twist.
this isn't tech that I've
In
used
a
before.
yes, but in a strange twist, this is tech that is intended to interface with.
Yeah, this is on purpose. This is supposed
So in a
to go
strange
here.
twist.
So no.
No.
That's hysterical. I love that. Don't think anything else unless for some reason tasks involving sight helps here, but I don't think it
No, not here.
does. Does ship speak help that I'm connected to Awakener?
It might.
Up to you. You're bonded with the ship.
I'm going
call.
to say that. Hold on, real quick. Does your extra asset thing? Does it give you? Is that still restricted by the asset limit?
Mm-mm.
Okay, then I'll say that ship speak won't necessarily I think that'll give you an asset, another asset on this.
Okay. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, because the exploit advantage isn't an asset; it just doubles an asset.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
So
yeah.
Whenever you have an asset for roll, you ease the task by one additional step, so it's not technically an asset.
Cool. That's kind of what I thought it was, but I couldn't remember.
We
but,
haven't really you even
Mhm.
Okay, so then ship speak.
Yeah.
Because I have Awakener in my brain. Oh my goodness. I have 2 free levels of effort. And I think that's all I've got.
So down from a 9 to a 1.
Yeah, I want to roll on that.
All right. You just need 3 or better. It's almost like this is the specific thing Bina was designed to make.
Built to do this exact thing, yeah. That's an 18.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Then yeah, it only takes you probably about.
And if I'm using my tools, I have the time.
Yeah, so it takes you the better part of an hour, but before too long, you manage to sort of interface this piece of tech into Awakener. This unfamiliar piece of tech. You can feel that Awakener is it's still it's almost like when you introduce 2 unfamiliar cats. It's that kind of I don't know about this.
One. How are we sure about this?
Yeah. But it seems like the connection is holding.
Okay.
And Archazon nods and says, "Good. Now that it is installed, from any, control point or nexus that you designate, which you can set from here, that control point can be, the use of one's abilities will be transferred to the ship or through it, greatly extending the range of many of the abilities."
Whoa. Cool. Good job, crew.
Alma says, so, where are we designating?
She didn't say anything. She's thinking,
Yeah.
should we go get everybody? And
I mean, we could... The places that come to mind right away, bridge or the observation deck.
bridge makes sense. That's where a lot of controls are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alma sort of like reaches up and like makes the necessary adjustments and says, okay, I think it's set. Oh, hold on. I keep forgetting that I... And she's kind of like reaches out and
You
like
can
touches...
just- yeah.
Yeah, and just touches the like the extrapolator and just goes, okay, yeah, it's good. It's set.
Right. And Bina's gonna tap next to where it is and be like, okay, Awakener, be nice. New friends. Okay. And then we'll make our way out.
Okay, sounds good. So back up in on the bridge. Anybody who wants to be there can be there. But
Yeah.
Alma looks up and just says, "Okay, looks like everything is good. Ready to test?"
I mean, I'm ready.
Do it.
Mason isn't here, by the way, just in case.
Okay. Alma says, "Bina, why don't you try making the ship invisible?"
My God, I'm not close enough to my microphone.
Your mic.
Yeah, I know. There's the noise outside is no longer happening, so I can turn my game back up. Yeah, she'll just kind of put all four hands in the console, and she will try to extend
Okay.
the warp to around Awakener.
Yeah. You do it, and for a moment you feel like almost like the difficulty, like when you try to extend your sort of
The bubble.
the
yeah.
bubble beyond yourself. There's that kind of like hesitation, but you feel it's more permeable than it has been in the past. And as you sort of think about it a little bit, you kind of will past it and push that bubble out, and suddenly you can feel the ship kick in and begin to help you do it.
Can I do something
Mhm.
weird maybe with it?
Sure.
Can I make the ship invisible to us
Ooh, interesting.
so that it looks like we're standing in space?
Sure, theoretically, I think you could do that.
Yeah, I wanna do that so we know if it works.
Yeah.
Kind of, but also because I think it would look cool. So yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because there's going to be a lot of very startled people in a second.
Well, everyone else who's not on the bridge with us can go invisible with the ship, and so they'll still be able to see
Sure,
the
sure.
ship. But like us on the bridge, I want it for us,
Okay.
so I don't scare the shit out of anybody. But for us who know we're doing this,
We're in space, but we can breathe. What's going on?
so yeah, do that.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the entirety of Awakener vanishes around all of you. You can still feel the ship underneath you, even the hum of systems and engines around you. But looking around you, you just see the empty expanse of space. The planet just off to one side as well, unobstructed by anything other than the sort of curvature of the orbital station.
Wow.
Works,
Impressive.
I think.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
So, that's not something you see every day.
How close are we to the nebula up here by the station?
It's at this point, I think it's sort of on the other side of the planet, but you can
Okay,
see it.
So
but you
we
can
don't get any cool. Okay, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still cool in the periphery.
Mm-hmm.
I just know how close we are. That's okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Could any of your other abilities do the same thing?
Me specifically? What do you want to know?
How
Which
does
can
all
make
this
us glow?
I could. And then I'm gonna try to do the sunlight from Awakener, so it'll shift, like all of it will like slide back into view, and then from the outside I'm gonna turn instead of like it's like a moat that turns into a star, now expanded the size of Awakener that will turn into. If yeah, we'll try that.
Whoa.
Okay.
Turn us into the star.
Yeah, you attempt to do that. It just behaves the way you would normally expect it to.
Oh, okay.
So
Alright,
like
yeah.
some things won't work that quite and like won't change, but some things like for example, just this is sort of out of game that I am explaining to you basically
Yes,
that
yes,
like
yes, yes.
things that would like ordinarily require you to like make some sort of extraordinary expense to make it affect Awakener as well, like now can just be done like as part of the cost basically.
Cool.
So like for instance, Bina, living light,
Oh, are you kidding me?
that could
What?
theoretically work. Um,
Oh my god, you guys, my stunt piloting is about to get fucking bananas.
No.
but additionally, Taeon's teleportation, and yeah, like things like that. Possibly even to a lesser extent, possibly Mason's ability to adapt. Things like that. So, yeah.
Hey, that we'll have time to play a bit more with that. But what is the plan next? From what we understand, the resistance fleet got essentially evaporated after they left FTL. So how are we going to make that seem like they did? I mean, I suppose I could try to use teleportation and take the shits along with us, but
What if
I don't know.
could we send if we go back? If we send some sort of warning, then make it not from us, or maybe I don't know. I'm not really sure how we want to play this because they don't know where we are for a week.
Alma speaks up and just says, I mean, they didn't know where we went either. I mean, not specifically. For all they knew, I mean, they knew that you were gone, but for all they knew, maybe I did tell them we would try to rendezvous with them beforehand.
Could we send the warning through one of you
Yeah, I mean,
to them?
even through Awakener, I could do it.
Yeah,
They don't have to know that you're on board.
Yeah. Okay. We go back. We send some sort of warning without alerting to the fact that we're involved. We do what Peach's idea. What was the to try to interface with, or to try to send some sort of message through the caretakers.
Mm-hmm.
To
And then-
help the people on the ground.
Maybe we could, at the time of when the resistance was supposed to go through, we FTL in invisible, surrounded by a bunch of fake ships that Peach
That
projects
sounds
from
good
us.
to me.
I can make fake
And
ships, but I can make a fake explosion, but the only concern I have is if they have any ability to see through illusions. But
Jade just sort of raises his hands and says, I actually think that maybe I could. I mean, we have this device now. I could just try to. I don't know. I could try to manipulate the.
Give them an explosion.
like
wave.
make
Yeah.
a real explosion.
Force
Make a
wave.
real explosion. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to work with you a little bit to see what exactly it would look like for that kind of explosion to
The inevitable says, "No need. I've got footage right here." And he
We
just
know
sort of
exactly what it would look like.
Oh, right, of course.
he pulls up the
Right.
feed from a few days ago when the Resistance fleet was supposedly destroyed, and you watch the devastating destruction of the Resistance fleet as soon as they jump in. You watch the brief light flashes as the fleet jumps in, and just immediately the barrage opens up, almost as if they knew exactly when and where the fleet was coming, which of course they would have, considering that they were warned by the the advance sort of guard, basically. And you watch a devastating series of less of an explosion and more like a cascading energy wave, as the bombardment from a huge corporate fleet basically builds up energy, and then just like the residual energy from the discharges also chain reacts, additionally, just sort of sending just like a cascading energy wave, essentially, um, at the end of which there's not a sign of one single ship, not even debris.
Hey, I suppose my only other worry, I suppose, Peach, you understand your ability more than I do. Will your illusions be able to be picked up on scanners, sensors? For example, we saw Awakener coming from FTL. I assume they have some similar kind of tech on their ships. Would they be able to detect us?
Have we faked that before? I feel like
Ada,
we've faked signatures.
Yeah, and if it came right out of FTL, they might not be able. Would they be able to see those all immediately, or could it? I guess they would. Yeah.
Ada just sort of says, I mean, frankly, I could try to
Get spoofed on?
displace our signal,
Mm-hmm.
so that we, like, the resistance fleet would be safely to the side of that cascading wave.
And I'm gonna watch this a few more times just to make sure I got it, and then it should be good.
Okay. The inevitable says, now, on the subject of the ground team and our incepting our hive-minded friends,
Mhm.
you should probably remain focused on the illusions. So I suggest maybe it might be beneficial. He kind of looks over at you, Taeon, and says, if you're willing to do an additional hop.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that should be fun. He like pats the like tech on his side.
Mhm.
I should have enough juice for many more hops after this.
All right.
Do you want invisibility? Should I go with you? Keep us invisible, then we don't have to worry about disguises.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I can. The inevitable. How does this sound? What if I jump back in time exactly when I finish dropping everyone off? As far as they're concerned, I'm the same Taeon.
That might work.
I just show up after a second after leaving, telling them that the orders have changed slightly.
I would recommend give it a couple of minutes for
Couple minutes?
for realism. Just that way,
Yeah, that's
it'd be
makes sense.
believable. I mean,
And we could frame it as like a we're changing up our plans rapidly to throw people off, to throw things off. Will you spread this for us?
makes sense. They were ordered to maintain radio silence until operations began. So
And I'd still like to go invisible as well, just in case. I don't know. They have different ideas, or something goes wrong.
Yeah,
all right,
that works fine.
I'd say
Well,
make
if
it
you-
quick.
You
Yeah.
can do other disguise stuff, can't you, Peach?
I mean, yeah, I could I haven't ever used this ability, like Dreamcraft, to like change my appearance, because I thought it would be a little broken to just like change how I looked all the time without having the specific ability. But I don't know, I feel like I could definitely like just make my face look different, like with the Dreamcraft.
Well, if we're going when they still think we're around, I guess that maybe doesn't really matter. I was just trying to like figure out how we can make this make it as small as possible, just so we don't accidentally mess something up.
I think they could probably see through an illusion with me anyway, because they've done it before. But
Yeah, I can like I said, I've also improved my doppelganger, so we both can make trips at the same time and report the news, the change of plan to everyone, and then jump back fairly quickly.
If Bina made me, this is a weird, I've never thought I'd have to ask this question. Bina, if you made me invisible and then I went back with Taeon, would the invisibility, it would still last? No?
No, because I'm shifting the light around
Yeah.
me. It's not. I mean, you're not like invisible. I'm like. It's like when you're with
Bending
me,
light.
I can warp the light around us in a bubble. I think is what we've established.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And also, I don't think I can just put it on someone else without me being involved.
No.
That's not how the ability works.
Peach has no idea how it works.
No.
I'm gonna be
I mean,
honest.
we stretch it. I usually spend XP to make it work,
Mhm.
or like spend extra stuff because it's a self. I believe
Yeah.
it's initially a self one, but we spend to make it do cool
Okay.
stuff.
Well, Taeon, if you're sure, then I'll just stay and focus on the illusions.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry, I've got this. Trust me, I've gotten pretty good at this whole doppelganger thing.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to go alone, or do you want someone to come with you?
I think I can go alone. I dropped what 5, 6 teams. Yeah, I can do it in 10, 20 seconds. I'll just send. In fact, I can just say that time is of the essence and just send them the message, so I don't have to spend more than a few seconds there
That's true.
and send it to their comms. But yeah, I can do it. Less than a
So
minute.
we can prep something now. You have it. You show up. You ping it to someone, and then.
Yeah. And also, my doppelganger can make a doppelganger now. So
Your
There's that.
power, it grows.
yeah,
So basically, I guess we would probably want to phrase it like, okay, sorry for the last minute thing, but this is part of the plan to keep things shuffling so nothing can be predicted. Here are your new orders, and
yeah.
then that's it.
Are we telling them to tell the ground team to evacuate or just to like hide? Like, are we telling them to like get off
Hide.
the
I don't
planet
think-
or?
Hide and do not
Hide,
show
yeah.
like do not
Okay.
show things are getting delayed or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Don't come out until you're contacted again. Maybe until
And,
I
like,
don't know. I don't know how we want.
I think I'd even say like tell them to follow because the caretakers have been taking like citizens under into
Yeah.
the underground. So I think
Basically keep in mind that like that in order for this plan to be successful, there can be no sign of any of them or the resistance fleet until at least the present moment,
Yeah.
like currently.
So for at least a week.
Not. Oh, I guess yeah. It would be. So if you're going back to tell them, like back right after you drop them off, then it would be like, yeah, you tell them like, yes, a week. But if you're
More than but it's
Give
a little
it-
more
give it
than
a
a
little
week,
bit of-
right?
yeah.
it's a little bit more than a
Just,
yeah.
Until just you could just say it should be about a week, but you will be contacted. We can try to go find them maybe, or like.
I'll just say that we'll contact them. Just stay low. We'll contact you.
Yeah,
first.
that's-
Say
Seven
for
business
sure-
days.
Yeah, for sure 7 business days. But then after that, it will be for sure this many days, and then after that, we will come and someone will contact you, or something with new.
It's basically a
Yes.
standby order, is what you're telling them.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
basically giving them a standby order.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I do need to recharge a little bit, and I'm gonna like take the tech, one of the tech pieces that I got. And again, the fingers on their suit kind of slide up to show like almost like electrodes and electrode pads, and he places his hand on it and absorbs energy. And I rolled a 9, so I absorbed 9 back,
Nice.
which is very useful. There we go. Okay.
All right. So we'll just
Say
say
that aside.
yeah, we'll just say once again, Taeon gone, and I would say just there's no real need to like do that. So like just a couple seconds later, Taeon back in exactly in the same spot.
Ooh.
2.5 seconds.
Okay. It's not my personal best, but it's getting there.
You had stuff to do. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. The inevitable says, well, in that case, there is only one thing left to do. Are we ready to take this on?
Yeah.
I kind of just look down at the screen that has the explosion still on in like a freeze frame. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, then let's get this done, and let's save the resistance.
Okay.
Save the resistance, save the timeline, save the galaxy, save the universe. I think it's all the same at this point.
Alma shrugs, says, "Busy week."
Busy week.
Let's start it all over again. Okay. I'm gonna place my hands on it.
From the top. Oh.
Oh, that's such a good line.
All right,
Do it
so
again.
Taeyeon, you just sort of once again time traveling, only this time using Awakener and the newly installed tech. You arrive. Where are you attempting to arrive? And when specifically?
Yeah. As far as when goes, we know when that footage that the Inevitable showed us was, right? So I want to.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to teleport us to a point where. Okay, this is very hard to explain. To a point where we'll get to that spot in that time.
Sure.
I suppose is the best way I
I
can
mean,
put it.
we can always get there like a little bit early, and then
A little early. Okay.
like then we have time to make sure we set up. Not like too much
Yeah.
early. I don't want us to like double up on Awakener for too long.
Yeah.
But we can go a little bit early, and then we can arrive there by normal means, by normal
Yeah.
FTL, you know. So like,
Yeah.
where? So this is Sulan. There's not a system. It's just an asteroid. So there's not like a. How long is it from the nearest conduit to Sulan? Like
It's pretty
Sulan.
close. It's like a day.
A day. Okay.
So maybe halfway between Sulan and the conduit, with like.
The thing is, you
hour
have
to
precise
spare?
times at your disposal, which means that
Yeah.
you can like go set up and
Yeah,
then jump at a precise moment to arrive at the exact.
That's what I want to do. I want to give us
Yeah.
time to set up when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll teleport like a bit away from the conduit just in case people are coming in and out and just see a ship appear out of nowhere. I don't want to freak anyone out.
Yeah.
But like a bit away from the conduit. So
And
that
also, we
have
can
time
be
to set
invisible
up.
when we show up, probably too. If I
Yeah.
we can
I don't know
do
if
the
that
same
affects
time.
like sensors and stuff. That's the thing. So I just want to make sure like we're in a spot that no one can like are likely to run into. Yeah,
Yeah.
teleport us slightly before the conduit. They have time to set up, and then when we know time's right, we can go through it.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. I'm
So,
tired.
yeah, you, the ship jumps, and as it does, you kind of immediately arrive, at your intended destination. Excuse me. And where you basically give yourself about, I'd say, like, you probably wouldn't need much more than like maybe half an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And yes, you do so. You arrive, and the inevitable goes. He like clicks like a stopwatch. Basically, is this? All right, the clock is
All of
ticking.
us sync our watches.
Yeah, this clock is ticking. Let's get started.
Okay. Peach, do you want to test out how far you can make illusions? Just something small. I just want to see, I guess, the distance.
Yeah.
If
We're
there's-
in an abandoned area, right?
Pretty much. Basically, where you would have arrived is somewhere where like any ships that are traveling between the conduit and Sulan would be doing so at FTL. So like you're
wouldn't
basically
even-
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see.
Yeah. All right.
Some Duraga.
You want me to make a Duraga, Bina?
Yes.
Okay. I will. And I'm gonna kind of like using the size basis that like I saw in the video. I want to try to make like basically a Duraga that's like the size of what the illusion would be, just to see like how big I can make it.
That is a fucking enormous
Yep,
Duraga.
I
The
know.
size
See,
of an
Bina
entire
asked
fleet.
me.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not even gonna make you roll for that because the reality is I'm pretty sure you have the ability to make illusions at a ridiculous range and like basically at pretty much unlimited size.
Yeah, I mean, I'm now that I'm like specialized and have a power shift in it, it's like I can
Planetary
kind of
scale.
I can kind of do it pretty crazy.
Yeah. So you legitimately, all of a sudden, out in front of Awakener, there is just a Duraga that you fully can't even see because it is enormous and is filling up like
Fathomless
Yeah,
Duraga.
you
That's
cannot-
surely a band in this.
Yeah.
In this.
Yes.
fathomless Duraga.
He just kind of like rolls her sleeves up and is like kind of like
hmm
grin on her face.
Right, unfathomable Duraga. That's the that's the word I was looking for.
Fathomable Duraga is their is the parody band, the parody cover band. Jade goes, okay, well, I guess I should probably see if I can. And he just sort of like, what do I touch? I mean, is there like a thing that or can I just do it from here?
You just do it from here. I don't
Okay.
really touch anything special, I don't think.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up sensors, like me and Alma, so that we can like see how it reads from
Yeah.
like a ship's
Yeah.
sensor.
Jade says,
You-
"Okay, so just so that we're clear, I'm gonna do it. Try to do it way out there because this is gonna be a real thing, and I'm also not gonna do it at the same scale that the real one is. So
Yeah.
just because I
a
don't
warm
want
up.
Cool, actually.
yeah,
Woman can also very obvious.
yeah. Jade just sort of goes, okay, all right, okay. And you can see as he just sort of like pushes his hands kind of together. And in between his hands, you can actually sort of start to see like a buildup of energy, as he just sort of, and he kind of closes his eyes and then opens them, and you can see as he opens his eyes, it's like are like sort of reflective of the energy itself as well. This sort of like, kind of like blue red in hue, as it's like almost like it looks kind of like a maelstrom of like sunset storm clouds basically in between his hands as he just sort of and his eyes kind of have taken on the same look as he just sort of stares out the forward view screen and then just collapses it, and way out in the distance you can see the same sort of energy suddenly expand outwards, in the same kind of cascading wave that you saw in the video footage. Much smaller scale, but it's there. He goes,
That looked great, Jade.
okay.
Hold on. While we have to in this time tell the resistance to disappear, right?
Yeah. Yes, we do. We tell them to change the plan and change their trajectory.
Yeah, disappear.
Um,
Oh, that was we said Alma was gonna do that, right?
Almost, I got
Yeah,
it.
not one of us.
Yeah, I'll do an audio only message, and then that way they won't see you. Just everybody just.
I
Shh. And Alma just sort of hails the fleet. Says, and you hear Becker's voice come through. It says, "Awakener, good to hear from you." Says, "Are you joining us? I didn't think you were gonna be here this soon." You hear Alma say, "Yeah. Change of plans. I figured I'd come help out. The others can handle themselves." You hear Becker's voice. "All right. Well, we'll be glad to have you. We'll rendezvous with you." Alma says, "There's one more thing. Your engagement with their advanced forces sort of drew some attention, and they know exactly when and where you're going to be coming through. It's going to be a massacre." There's a pause, and then Becker says, "All right, what do you suggest?" Says, "Well, currently I'm working on we're working on something here with Archazon. We have a plan, but you're going to have to trust us, and basically there's going to be some fireworks, and as soon as that happens, we'll be doing it. It will be covering the fleet's retreat, and you'll need to lay low for at least a few days. We'll get back in contact with you when it's time, but I'd say," she kind of looks over her shoulder, 3 days maybe. And
We have like exact times and stuff, so like
Well,
I would
yeah.
look at I would probably
well,
look
no,
at
but
Taeyeon,
that's
like,
she like it's only like 2 days later that you would come, that you or crew would have arrived in this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Or in the time. So like, so Alma just is overshooting it basically is what she
Yeah,
says.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Perfect then. Yeah. Can
three.
also, by the way, while this is happening, can I? I know it's not. She has her own stats and stuff, but can I give encouragement for like social interactions
Sure,
basically
yeah.
for her so that she can like implore them.
Mhm.
So there's kind of just like she gets like a little like she could probably feel that like Venus helping her, but I don't know if she
Yeah.
would react to it at all.
Sure. And then you hear Becker pause for a second and then just say, "What do you think, General?" And you hear General Antos's voice, sort of calm and sort of pensive, just saying, "I think that's what kind of intel are we operating on here?" And Alma says, "You're just gonna have to trust me, General." There's another pause, and then, "All right, understood." Alma says, "Good. The goal is to make them think that they've destroyed the fleet. So we'll handle it. We'll handle the smoke and mirrors. But once that happens, you all just need to lay low. Just need to get out and lay low. Jump in and jump out immediately." Alma says, "I'm actually going to be sending you coordinates for a new jump point. So once you jump in, just it should be pretty simple to just program a synchronized jump for the fleet and time it for the exact moment that you jump in. That should mask your FTL signatures leaving, and the explosion will do the rest." Becker says, "Copy, Awakener. See you on the other side." And the communication cuts out.
Good job.
That was good.
Sure.
Okay, sorry. I sort of riffed on the plan a little bit, but
That was good. It works.
No, good improv.
With that, the inevitable says, "All right, we're coming up on time. Might want to get that illusory fleet ready." He says, "Ada Spriggs, are you ready?" And she goes, "Yeah, 1 second. I have my signal displacement disruptor right here. Give me just a second." Okay. The moment we jump in, I'll activate it, and it should displace the entirety of the fleet's signals to... There is a problem, though, and that is
What?
that the only way that this is going to work is if we center it on our location. That's the only... I wasn't able to get it to project a location.
I've got us. Don't worry.
Okay.
Can we, anyway, when we jump in, can we? Is it coming from Awakener, or can you have it on like a portable device?
I mean, I suppose if Awakener has any probes left, I might be able to hook up a transponder to one of the probes and then have it broadcast from there. We
I
just
just
drop
need
it
it
and
if-
run.
Drop it as soon as we get there, and then I can get us out.
Yeah, but we do have to drop into on location for me to activate it. But
Yes,
once we
yes.
activate it, we can drop it and run.
We have to be within a general range for me to keep the illusion up.
Yes, I got us.
Okay.
I just need to get us out of line of fire, and we'll be okay.
It's all a matter of timing is the thing. But that's nothing new. All
Then
right,
let's do it.
let's go then.
I just want to grab Jade's hand and like squeeze it.
Yeah, he squeezes your hand back and just nods.
We got this.
Yeah, he says, "What do you think? New record for craziest plan we've ever had?"
So far.
Yeah.
It's the craziest plan I've had with you guys.
Ada says, "We are not talking about that."
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna sit down with my co-pilot.
Mhm.
Make this ship invisible.
Yep. The ship. Yep.
I take off my jacket.
Alma says, "All right. Coordinates locked. All systems ready. Ready on your mark."
I'm gonna reach out one of hands. I'm gonna grab onto Alma's forearm, so she has. I mean, she doesn't even need her hand. She uses her brain, so I'm gonna grab one of Alma's hands, and then I have my other three.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's go.
let's do it.
With that, Awakener jumps. And only a little while later, you look down as there's a few tense moments, just sort of waiting as Alma just sort of says, approaching jump exit. Everybody ready?
Ready.
And she says, all right, exiting FTL in 3, 2, 1, mark. And then Awakener jumps into Sulan's vicinity. You also see, as soon as you jump in, you see around you like the flashes of the fleet jumping in, and the oncoming barrage immediately. Yeah.
Okay, so my plan was,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as we jump in, Venus starting a nosedive,
Mm-hmm.
and we are dropping that probe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, invisible, nosedive down, living light dropping us.
Yeah.
We are upside down. It's basically nosedive down backwards, and then like living light dropping us way, way down and continuing down and out of the way. So we're not jumping out
Yeah.
of the system. We can still use all of our powers and stuff, but I want us out of the way of the incoming.
Sounds good. You get the all right, disruptor online, and the probe is away.
Okay.
All right. Peach.
Yeah, I was about to say I put the
Yeah.
the ship fleet.
Yep. So immediately
What's up?
around you, you also watch as like more flashes of FTL signatures appear around you, as well as Peach's fleet of illusory ships.
Sulan.
And with that, you see as just this oncoming barrage from hundreds of capital ships that just bombard the whole area as Awakener sort of dips down.
And it's like,
Yeah.
as we fly away.
Yeah, Jade just sort of closes his eyes and says, okay, here goes nothing. And Inevitable says, wait for it. Wait. At this exact moment, you hear Ada goes, okay, Resistance fleet is away. And then says, now, go. And Jade just pulls from around him, in between his arms, cradling this enormous sphere of energy, sort of unstable, sort of arcing off in some places. Just and he just sort of pulls his arms together and collapses the sphere of energy. And distantly, you can see on sort of on the screens, this as the barrage collides with the illusory fleet, and just from your perspective, you can see that it passes harmlessly through them, but then suddenly an exploding cascade wave sort of shoots outwards from the kind of inflection point there. The Inevitable looks and says, "All right, it looks like it functioned. Let's get ourselves the hell out of here."
Yeah, I'm padding for Taeon.
Mhm.
Immediate. We're not even FTLing out of here. There's
Yeah.
no we are no ion trail. We are
Yep.
jump us.
I'm gonna teleport, jumping.
Excellent.
I think at first I'm gonna just teleport away to a distant place,
Mhm.
and then I'm gonna think about time another time.
All right. Yeah. So you just, and the last thing you see before you teleport out of there is you see the cascading wave just sort of rippling out, larger than you sort of expected it to do, and you can almost for one nerve-wracking moment you feel Awakener shudder behind you, even as Awakener still largely incorporeal. You feel the wave pass through Awakener, or at least connect with it at the exact moment that Taeon just with that, you find yourselves far away, several days in the future, or back to your present, and there's just sort of silence in the bridge, and the inevitable says, "All right, moment of truth." And he sort of like goes on his terminal and just, what's up? We did it.
There is overwhelming like giddy that just like wash out from Vina over the entire bridge, and everybody can feel like fear, terror, and giddy like whoosh.
Yeah.
Says, I've
Taylor
got,
like doesn't. Taylor didn't even notice how stiff he was until he
Yeah.
just relaxed, kind of
Mhm.
melts in his seat.
says, I'm getting there. I'm getting a response on our coded frequency right now.
Thank
They're
goodness.
they're
They made
they're
it.
there. They're waiting for us.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Jade just says, "I'm gonna go check on our families just in case,
Yeah.
because like just in case we messed up and accidentally erased them." And he like
Jade,
runs.
you did amazing, by the way.
Thank you. He calls over his shoulder as he like
Yeah.
runs.
I did tell them to strap in, didn't I?
I had just assumed.
Yeah, before too long, Jade confirms that the like families are fine, well,
Okay.
and yeah, that
Still
seems
existing.
still existing. Yes.
The Ova Orzais are do not leave home ever. They are both very grab sick. They are both
Yeah.
they are both
Oh
very
yeah,
cautious.
they are.
Space travel. They are.
Oh, both of them have like they're like glowing slightly green or like it's just
Yeah.
sort of yeah. It's um
Our poor parents. They do not get out. They do not leave the planet.
yeah. Alma just sort of leans back in her seat and just sort of looks over at you, Bina, and just says, "Absolutely amazing."
We did it.
We saved them.
We are never doing that again.
Yeah.
But we did it.
Peach's eyes are definitely like she definitely has like some tears
Mm-hmm.
from.
What's everybody feeling? What's the emotional landscape for this bridge right now? What's Vina feeling?
I think it's a lot of relief at first. And then I don't know really how to explain it, but it's definitely like Taeyeon kind of looks down at his arc reactor because he did use quite a bit of juice from it, and kind of looks at Ada and just kind of
She nods.
silently acknowledges
Yeah.
that it's gonna be a bit.
Yeah, she nods to you.
But other than that, he's happy that the job was done well. A very big sense of relief.
Yeah, Peach also has relief, but then she still has she has kind of a residual like horror from seeing all of the explosion and like having to recreate it so
Holding that in your
closely.
brain for a while.
Yeah, she definitely still has like that kind of like grief horror mix in there, but also relief.
Alma is just relieved and giddy, and that's basically it. Like that's. You can see that she also is like there's like tears.
Vina
But
has
she's
not dropped her hand,
yeah.
by the way.
she's not feeling that, but she is. But like
It's the relief, the
it's the
emotional
re-
catharsis.
yes, but I think Bina could probably tell that it's emotional catharsis not just from the moment, but also like because unlike the rest of you, Alma has
had to-
lived
Had to experience it.
yeah, she has had to experience the actual destruction of the Resistance fleet.
Bina
Yeah.
like wiggles their hands in between them and says,
Mhm.
"You saved them."
She says, "We saved them."
How's Mason feeling? I didn't.
Hmm?
How's Mason
Yeah,
feeling?
how's Mason feeling? Where's Mason being? 'Cause I remember Mason. You said that Mason wasn't up in the bridge.
Yeah, where was he? But
Yeah.
you
Wait, with us?
well,
for
you
that?
came with us on the ship, but
Yeah.
Mason went off to see his family.
Okay.
okay.
So Mason would not be in the bridge.
Okay,
but,
okay.
Which actually, this is I think a good moment to sort of cut there, Mason, as both Cade and Liara are asleep, and it's just Maya, sort of standing there, just like the two of you sort of standing like shoulder to shoulder watching them. And she says, "Is this what it's like all the time out here?"
Close. Pretty close. But not always. Sometimes it's very quiet and I spend too much time thinking about the past. You know, I found out it doesn't matter anymore, but just so you know, I was right. The regulators were corrupt. I just didn't get who it was. It was a Selleck. The captain. Can you believe it?
I can't believe he sold you out. I'm glad though. I know that was weighing on you. I mean it. Us.
I know.
You know, it wasn't that I never believed you, you know. You know that, right?
Yeah. I know.
I just... You were stuck and I couldn't stay there with you.
Of course not. There is full transparency. There's no blame at all. I completely understand.
No, and me neither. Not here. Listen, there's no going back to before. Not for me. I'm different, and you're different.
Yeah.
But they need you in their lives, and when this is over, maybe we'll figure that out.
If it's okay with you, and of course, if it's okay with, and Mason kind of gestures.
She shrugs and says, "Liara asks about you all the time. Yeah. I think they need their dad in their life."
I would love that.
She smiles and says, "Okay, I'm going to, they look like they're gonna stay that way for a while. I think I'm gonna catch some shut-eye myself."
Please do. Please get some rest and...
Yeah.
Thanks for, talking. Again, I am sorry. But as you know, it's been truly an unprecedented time.
I mean, you have a friend who can travel through time, so I guess I can't really expect anything to be all that normal.
It's very unnormal, but it can be very thrilling at times. Especially when the good things come out good.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll have to tell me about it sometime.
Yeah.
Right now, I need to...
Sleep.
Yeah.
Good night, Maya.
Good night, Mason.
Mason kind of just like goes and kind of pulls the blanket just a little further up over Liara and Cade, and just kind of like doesn't, just as gentle as he can, just kind of tucks them in and gives them both a kiss on their foreheads, and then kind of just like tilts a hat towards Maya and kind of saunters out the door with his hands in his pockets.
I think that's where we will close tonight's session. Wow.
Wow.
Ooh. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight as the crew of Awakener hacked time.
Oh boy.
Damn, we're good. MVP Taeyon. I mean,
I'm
everyone
very
was an
glad I got
MVP,
that
but
Listen.
absorb
When
energy.
you were looking at it and you're like, oh, like back when we first made Tan, you're like, I don't think that'll ever like be a thing that he uses, but whatever. I was like, I was dead set that it was gonna happen at some point. So, um, oh my God, Gemini,
Whoa,
thank you
Gemini.
so much. Holy crap.
Thank you, Gemini.
Wow.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
if I could turn back time.
Ooh, ooh. Okay, all right.
That's also a good one.
This
Good
is-
time that time.
Well, everybody, yeah, as Gemini says, we will see you in a couple of months. We'll see you in August as we finish out the season and the rest of the show.
Yeah.
As I said at the beginning, this will be the beginning of Rule of Lords Summer Break. We will. This is our last stream until August, so everybody, we'll still be around for sure, but not streaming. And maybe I'm not exactly sure how timetables work out here, but you might see some of us on streams, so keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for some fun things that are coming. But yeah, we will see you back for the next episode of Infinite Horizon on August 3rd. So yeah, we'll see you then, everybody. And until then, everybody, enjoy your summers. And we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night
Night.
and good zone, everybody.